brought his son, got his dad's face. We ordered crab cakes, table with mad plates. R&B playlist, I'm in blast space. She told me about her last date, I had to laugh in her face. Yo, that's brunch on Sundays. Bring the hookah to the table, she gon' smoke it till her lungs ache. That's brunch on Sundays. Posting pictures on the gram, hashtagging Sunday Fun Day. Go.
Yeah, that's about as far as I'm willing to risk it. Nas, much love, always and forever. Not that he's dead, he's still cracking like ever. Supposed to start about, I want to say 2.5 hours ago. However, this is the first official cast, and I still don't have Casey on board for Sunday brunch day. I would be more than willing to have anybody join me. So anybody out there on the Futures audience, and anybody out there on my current timelines, and anybody out there in general that I know personally and or has interest in getting to know me better, feel free to reach out. I would like that very much, because either way, I think spilling tea is a fun concept. I'm going to be talking about comedy this past week. That's kind of the principle of this episode's this type of thing. And you'll see where it comes back around, considering I was in a roast earlier this week. A little bit of a tease. So before I get started, I'd like to thank our sponsors, which is nobody essentially, but we'll get them. Mostly I like to just kind of joke about it, just so everyone knows I'm not actually getting paid. This is not paid product endorsement. It's more just things that I enjoy, things I like to eat. And since it's brunch, but in general, I always got my coffee. This is from a local coffee shop. If you follow the Instagram, fps.comedy on Instagram, you're more likely to see articles and storylines with what company this is. I'm not going to get them a shout out since they're LA local, Koreatown even more local wise. Also, we've got this lovely brunch themed and inspired meal I'll be snacking on in between. Another reason it would be lovely to have myself co-partner when I'm doing these engagements is so that I can take bites in between. But, we'll make it work. If anything, I'll get a little extra practice on acting, get to show the world as they view me, and they can say, oh, whoa, that's pretty killer. That guy can actually legitimately eat, not choke, and talk. Man, he's gifted. Rehearsed, experienced, or let's just say, what it is. I've got a lot of blood in me, and that blood, specifically ancestrally speaking, comes from a line of people that are notorious talkers. And, some of my best relationships have come from people when it's got me and them, and we can simultaneously have a conversation at the exact same time, talking about two separate subjects literally at the same time, because we're fully capable of receiving what's being said to us and giving out information. It's a beautiful and very rare and incredibly unique thing. Either way, welcome back to another episode of what this is. We like to officially call it now Learning to Lie. Most likely we are going to branch out, have our own page for Learning to Lie. We're also going to most likely have some type of swag people can purchase if they want. We're also going to make sure that everyone understands the theme is learning to lie, right? Because everybody knows how to love, or they don't. They learn to love. Oh, welcome Oswald Marshman, a.k.a. yet another bot trying to sling whatever that is. That's why you have to put that space in between that period mark. I'm well aware what you up to, Oswald. Though I do appreciate you at least giving me a valuable comment, even though they never show up on the lives, thank goodness, because this is officially, unofficially, but just so everyone knows, technically and also, more importantly, because I'll be drinking today, it's definitely an over 18, but realistically, it's an over 21, because we don't want any youngsters drinking. Wink, wink, hint, hint, nudge, nudge, side to side, nobody worries, we aren't lying. But to explain better what I made today, we've got this type of pan-inspired bread. It's actually a tortilla because, affordable. A little bit of garlic butter up on that just because I wanted to try something different. We got eggs. We got masala curry. We got potatoes. We got grilling cheese. We got, and that's not grilled cheese, mind you. It's a new discovery of mine, though it's been around forever. It's called grilling cheese. It's a special, unique type of cheese that can actually be put on hot, and it will melt down, but not fully, and you can flip it. It's pretty awesome stuff. Here's a little example of what it looks like. It's literally like that. It's pretty baller, actually. It's a protein substitute if you don't want to be using meat. I mean, I love meat, but I've been cutting back on it for reasons of my own. Mostly just why not? Also because the more I can cook like a vegetarian and vegan, the more the ladies love me. What can I say? Just about everything I do, it's for you, ladies. Yeah, those who can't see on the video, right? Well, soon enough we'll have the audio loads too. What else can I get at? Oh yeah, potatoes. If anybody knows anything about me, I cook the best potatoes in the world. No doubt. No doubt. I swear, I will put my potato skills against anybody, and that means I can do a couple different types of potatoes, but the traditional, keep it simple, O'Brien style potatoes. Essentially, you're talking about block cut up potatoes. But one of the secrets I'll let out, it's not really a secret, but I always wash the starch off first because that way rinse. Washing includes soap. You do not want to use soap on food you're about to cook. Rinsing is just the water. So I rinse the potatoes twice at least minimum to get a lot of that starch off of them because when you fresh cut them, they got a lot of starch. If you don't do that and you throw them onto a hot pan, most likely they're gonna not only stick to the pan no matter how much oil it's got, they're also gonna just get way too burnt, way too fast, and then that's when you get basically a raw potato with burnt outsides, and that is not a flavor palette I would recommend, except for the most extreme situation, which I'm not going to discuss because it's completely off topic. Also, I'm going to do this live just because. I'm not sponsored, obviously, but it's what it is. We got a Corona right here. Congratulations, Rams. I'm actually Seattle local. Well, now I'm LA local, but Seattle home and bred. Seattle is where my head always be. I've been missing my marketplace so much. God, I miss it. I used to haunt it. I'll get into that in a little bit also because I met a guy on the Walk of Fame who literally, I must say how much of a blessing it is when someone actually recognizes me from the marketplace. Not only recognizes me, but knows me, and it's like people gotta understand. Like I ain't fronting. I'm not Macklemore, okay? I'm a legitimate Seattleite. I'm a person born and raised. I spent a lot of time outside somewhat, but most of my life has been spent walking the streets of Seattle, living in the streets of Seattle, fuck it, doing everything. I mean, not to brag, but I mean, it's not something to brag about, but like as young as 12 years old, I was working with the mobiles, handing out clean needles and sandwiches before I even knew what shooting up was. I mean, that's kind of sad, but kind of real. But it's also, it's just the reality. I knew what I was doing in the sense that I was helping people. And I cannot say like how much that means to me because I'll get into this a little bit later, most likely also. But look, I do a lot of stuff and I am cutting back a lot and I miss a lot of the stuff I used to do. And I must say though, when it comes to especially alcohol and drugs, but I've been rewatching technically, but also catching like how do you put it? The show's I'm pretty sure officially concluded. It's called Shameless. I'm talking about the American adaptation. It's got William H Macy in it as the patriarch, if you will, of the family. It's also got the girl who plays the oldest sister. I have been in love with her in I don't know her personally, okay? I am just in love with mostly her voice, but also her phenomenal body, obviously. But voice goes above the body because I mean, look, I couldn't appreciate her body. Well, I mean, I could recognize she was cute, but she was 16 when she got an Academy Award for Phantom of the Opera, the movie. So I'm just saying out here, like I've known about this girl for a filthy second, and when she get up on that show, and look, okay, as an adult and on a I think it's a Showtime show. I'm pretty sure. It might be no. I'm pretty sure it's a Showtime original. Original. It's based on a British show called Shameless, also, which is actually phenomenal. I would recommend watching like the first two seasons of the British one, and then skipping over to like the third or fourth season of the American one, which is basically what I'm getting at. Long story short, and what is the deal? Okay, the deal is that show be having me relapsing, like not in a bad way, mind you, but I swear I started smoking the real cigarette, the classics as I call them again, because they're smoking those things and it's just like, whoa, it's so gritty how that works. But also I've been drinking a bit more. But don't worry, folks, I got my stuff in control. So anyway, I'm gonna make this drink. This is my brunch inspired drink. I cut out the OJ. One sec, gotta grab the vodka. Reason I cut out the OJ. Two reasons technically. Number one, it's very expensive at 7-Eleven, and number two, I decided that this would be enough, which is the dragon fruit flavor. I'm doing something different. Normally, I would do the star fruit or I would do the peach one, but the dragon fruit mixed with ale type beers, which is what Corona is, actually is very complimentary. But I'm gonna grab that vodka real quick. Don't mind my head disappearing. Don't worry, I'm still here. Well, those listening are gonna be like, "What's this long pause?" Ah. All right, another unofficial, official, as far as I'm concerned, sponsor. I don't really drink a lot of vodka. In fact, vodka, if anyone knows me, is the one I stay the way the most away from. But when it comes to brunch themes, I mean, Bellini. What's another one? Bellini's the one with peach schnapps and vodka, and I think it's Conseco or something, or a bubbly rosé. But the other one I was thinking mimosas is vodka and orange juice and champagne. Actually, wait, screwdriver is orange juice and vodka. But I used to make what I was doing was is a screwdriver mixed with the champagne. Either way, nobody cares other than the people that care, but feel free to make a drink alongside me, especially you, Russian bot. I know, or, well, Mid Eastern European. I'm not sure, man. Most of these bots, they come. Like, I'm not gonna get into it, but I don't think it's too presumptuous of me to say, like, especially when the language and the things they write is, it's pretty certain they're most likely in Russia. I mean, don't get me wrong. Actually, fuck it. Go ahead, get me wrong. Fuck you. Fuck everybody. I don't give a fuck at this point. I'm just gonna do this episode by myself, and hopefully at some point one of my friends that I linked out shows up, but most likely it'll just be me. So, normally you want to put the alcohol in last, but because I'm cool like that, I'm gonna throw some Tito's vodka. I got this small bottle. So it's like maybe half a shot worth. Now you would be like, well, what the heck? Reality speaking, I would do the whole thing back in the day. I would do the whole thing now, but if I get too loaded on this live, I might do a little more spilling than I'm supposed to. And anybody that knows anything about me knows one thing for sure. I already get in enough trouble, and I don't even have nearly the following people think I do, but the people I reach them well. And also at the same time, what I say, people do not like because it's true. And the one thing I know about truth is that the people who are hiding the most cannot stand when you bring light to their shadows. And I might get into some of that too. So anyway, you're gonna do the vodka first. Now I'm gonna do the Corona next because I want to. Okay, for those at home, one of my favorite sounds in the world, whether it's soda pop or beer, you just know what comes next is gonna be refreshing. God, that's wonderful. Sip for me. Oh yeah. Oh, ooh, tastes like cancer. So to pour that fucker in, try and keep it close to the bowl. Oh wow. Something about the lip on this? If anyone didn't notice, it just dripped. I look like I wet myself, and the beer. Oh man. Nah, talk about shameless. I mean, I'm not. It's not shameless episode, but well, then again. No. What was I getting at? Oh right. So the thing about the shameless show is just like when I see how grimy their dad gets, played by William H Macy. I really, really have to realize, like, oh man, sometimes it's just too close to home to really real like, oof. If you haven't woken up in your own vomit, you really haven't drunk. Like, I know it sounds stupid, but I'll tell you what. Ooh, another one. That was a sick pop. That was from the Red Bull for those listening. Oh, this is so unique. It's dragon fruit flavor. It's their newest in their line. I was gonna look and see if it's a summer blend. It's not a summer blend actually. It's literally just the newest in their line. We'll see how long it lasts for, but I would love to be sponsored by Red Bull. I've been talking. Oh, I'm taking my medicines again, which is important, not necessary, but I promised I'd do it at least for 2 months. But the psychiatrist, the last time I was talking to him a couple weeks back when I was getting a checkup or a check in or whatever, he was like, "Oh yeah, yeah, would you drinking the things today or whatever?" And I was like, yeah, I'm like 4 Red Bulls minimum to get straight." And anyone that knows me when it comes to coffee, um, this normally is just 2 shots of espresso mixed. I add 4. This drink cost me near to $10. At Star Hacks, it would have costed me probably almost 20. Uh, but I never, ever, 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 ever. You'll never see me in a Star Hacks because here's the thing about Star Hacks Evil Corp. They sold the Seattle Supersonics, and I will never forgive Schultz for that. Also, Schultz is a complete and total fucking racist. And anybody that wants me to call out attention to it, I can. Actually, fun enough, maybe I'll talk a little story, talking about spilling truth teas of comedy. There was a comedian that I was close with, close in a stretch sense, but close enough in a lot of ways that we had a falling out because she was a sellout, and I don't mind calling her a sellout, and I'll name drop her a little bit later, or now, Stevie. Um, but the main thing about her and why she's a sellout is because she was working Star Hacks corporate, so she's not that I haven't met the man. In matter of fact, my last time that I saw Schultz, we were all giving him huge ass boos with our signs about bringing the Sonics back. I fucking love the Zombie Sonics Nation. Anybody who can, watch Sonics Gate. Look up Sonics Gate. You can probably find it for free, but if you can donate to their cause, it's a beautiful thing, especially now that we got the Kraken. No matter how much of a fucking. Don't even get me started on the hockey. Got nothing to do with comedy other than how terrible they're doing. But also, I don't care. I think that's just great to have hockey back in the city. Also, though, I do want to say, renovated or not, we'll see how Silva plays it. But before him, the commissioner that really screwed us all over, Stern, he what's the word for it? Was quoted saying that the Supersonics would never play again in the Key Arena. So we'll see how that all plays out. But man, I haven't heard from Hanson in a long time, and I will say this: just having the Soto Arena, far and far from the truth. Either way, so what you're gonna do is, I guess technically, since it's vodka and Corona right now, it's sample for flavor. Tastes mostly like a Corona, or it kind of reminds me of an Irish car bomb in the sense of like liquor inside of beer. But now we're gonna add for flavor. Oh, it looks like this dragon fruit has actually like a pink coloration. So now this drink is officially looking like a rosé, tasting like far less gay. Oh, zing zang zap. Oh yeah, that is a beautiful drink. Feel free to make your own, everyone, and also feel free to let Corona, Red Bull, and Tito's vodka know that I was the reason that you grabbed some. Fun story. Not a huge public like figure face on Instagram, but I will say this. I was doing some fun Pop Tart reviews, and I literally had somebody buy Pop Tarts because of it. And I was like, "Hey, could you do me a favor? Just comment and at tag Pop Tarts and be like, "Hey, Pop Tarts, I bought Pop Tarts because of this guy." Oh yeah, I forgot. Okay, eh, I tried out this thing. It's called HelloFresh. So far so terrible. I canceled it. I would not recommend to anyone, unless like you're a literal shut-in. But even then, I would say you're better off going with the carrot on, or what's it called? I forget, but it's like just go with anything. Even the new Uber movers or whatever, Uber fooders or whatever. Just HelloFresh, I would not recommend. But if you want to get HelloFresh, you can use my code, HelloFresh.com/ go fuck yourself. Ha ha! That was my joke for the day. Ha ha! Funny. Oh, I'm just kidding. I don't have no secret 10% off codes. You know, you don't get paid for most of that stuff. It's ridiculous. All you really get is fed back into their system. Like, I got this friend. Well, friend's a stretch, but anyone who follows my comedy knows a lot of my friends are a stretch. Not stretch like stretch, more like, they're not friends like my real friends, where I've been friends with like, shit. Like, some of my longest friends I've been friends with for over 20 years. Not that I like to talk about age, so let's just infer that I was in the womb with them. No, I'm just playing. I'm just saying. What else can I say? I really want to eat some of this before it gets cold. Oh dear God, I am I am one of the best chefs I know, other than my friends that are actual culinary chefs. Oh, dude, anybody who wants to eat sometime food I make, you're more than welcome to come by. Mm. Oh, oh man, it's like a food show. I should describe it. The the texture of the cheese with the crunch and a light amount of oil mixed with the slightest amount of egg and the perfect ratios of butter to potato crispness. Toss in the sweet, succulent flavors of arugula and there's no arugula in this. Uh, what is in it? Of salt and pepper, a little bit of dill, and also everybody's favorite. Well, not everybody's, but cilantro. And yeah, it's just the most amazing dish in the world. Enjoy. That's fun too. It's a little taste for my ASMR abilities or capabilities. Um, all right, I probably should have no cards, like, but in all reality, I want to do set another one where we do like an actual late night thing and where we get higher profile guests on. I don't have a huge outreach. I don't have a huge web network at the moment, but I'm pretty much certain that considering how unique, original, and incredibly like talented I am when it comes to things like in all reality, I'm not a hack, but if I'm working my way into a system now more than ever, I'm willing to do things that I used to feel were beneath me, but they're really not beneath me. To have everyone laughing, I really got woke up when I heard this podcast. For those who aren't aware, Big J Okerson has his own podcast. I don't know the name of it, so I can't really drop it. Oh, cool. Jesus or Jesus Kendall. Man, wouldn't it be better though if it was Kendall Jenner? Oh, I tell you what, if I had Kendall Jenner as a fan or Kendall Jenner pop, man, I could only imagine, man. Anybody else like to think her name is Kendall though? Cause I think like Kendall is funny to me only because like I don't know. I'm not gonna get into that either. Anyway, so what was I saying? Oh, right. So he mentioned like, and it was with Jim Brewer, and they were talking about the OG days for Jim Brewer, and then he was talking about when he started up and coming, and Big J and Jim Brewer, both of them, got their real starts essentially in the more urban comedic scene. So Okerson mentioned like you gotta basically pander to your audience, know your audience, stuff like that. Which, for some reason, it hadn't clicked until it clicked in that moment. I realized, like, yeah, the reality is, until you have everyone on your side to the most extreme potential, you really can't actually truly talk about what you really want to talk about. It's a shame, but if you do what I've been doing, in many different ways, you will never succeed in stand up. Period. You will never succeed. Period. Like, the truth is, if you go on there, it doesn't matter how funny you are if nobody's listening. It doesn't matter how funny you are or how intelligent your commentary is if nobody's following you. Like, literally, like they don't, like, if you're talking too smart over people's heads, you could be like, yeah, well, fuck you, you're not my audience, whatever. But in reality, that is your current audience in that moment. Therefore, is what it is. That being said, though, like, it's not beneath me. It's not beneath anyone, actually. And you shouldn't look down on someone for doing things that are traditional and classic and just anchored into our psyches at this point. Not to mention, I mean, anyone who's unaware, there's a book you can check out. It's called Learning to Be Funny or How to Be Funny, something along those lines. Several amazing people wrote on it. But the reason I bring it up is it has a very clearly stated fact in the, I want to say, the first few chapters. It literally breaks down and says Aristotle himself knew the three things that people laugh at, and nothing has changed to this day. It's just what it is. And then if you got the comedy Bible, it goes a lot more heavier into one of them specifically, especially, which is breaking down surprise in itself. But yeah. Anyone who wants to know what I'm talking about, it's pretty simple here, all right? Three things that everyone laughs at, right? Okay, so the first thing is going to be surprise. That's your common classic and everything love it. Misdirection. It's like, I'm leading you one way, and next thing you know, you're off the highway down the street around the corner and fucking a dog. See what I did there? But no, it's truth. That's what it is. So that's number one, and then number two is pretty much the most heavy one, the one that I think is oversaturating the market, not in a good or a bad way. It's just what it is, and that would be deprecation. Okay, so that's whether and most likely, I mean, more commonly, you're making fun of yourself. Something I've been learning to do more of, which we'll get around to it. But when I discuss the roasts and why they're important to me and are my weakest skill set, I can better explain myself. But for the moment, just understand I'm learning to make fun of myself. I am my own biggest critic, but the things that I say and critique about myself, there's no humor about it. It's actually super cynical, super cruel, super painful stuff. I mean, that's what growth's about. So I'm not denying that stuff, but it's definitely not comedy that you bring to the stage. That being said, though, if you can learn to utilize it and do it just right, it will work out in your favor. Finding the funny, as they say. So self-deprecation, it's whether it's you're making fun of yourself, which is more common, and the reason that's important is something like if anyone in the audience is going through or has gone through and or looks like and or feels the same way as you, it creates immediate common interest, like immediate bonding, immediate ways. And if anything, it's one of my most like deep rooted, most the reason that I do anything and everything in comedy. I believe truly that you can heal using laughter, you can heal using comedy. If you find especially a sense of humor about yourself and your circumstances, there's a lot you can laugh at, even if it's simply just laughing at the cruelty of life. Um, it's what it is. It's like, why is it that when people actually truly start to like lose their mind, they just had enough, they're at their breaking point, one of the things that they most commonly do is just laugh. I mean, it's very true. So there's deprecation on yourself, which can bring people in on board, and then there's this I would say to an extent is very hacky, but it's not hacky all the time, and it's actually very productive if you're truly good at it and you're truly intelligent and you're coming from all the right places. And that would be when you're deprecating things like government, police, and what I was going to bring up is everybody's favorite punchline for at least 4 years, Ronald McDonald Trump. And like Ronald Trump or Donald Trump, however you want to say it, DJ. I love calling him DJ. I think it's fucking great. Like, I love calling him DJ Trump. But then that's just me, you know. But also, I think it's dope that his initials are DJ. So it's pretty cool to me, like, because DJ is also, disc jockey and stuff. So it's like DJ Trump at the mint. And I did want to make jokes about that. And maybe now that he's out of the presidency, I might consider it because it doesn't feel as hacksy. But in all reality, it's like what I'm getting at is when you are making light or putting down people in power, especially, or people that have so much pride about themselves, a super arrogant individual. Um, that is another form of self-deprecation, but it's less self-deprecation, it's more societal deprecation. uh Another example might be the jester putting fun on the king. That is a very classic reference, but still current, more current than ever. I still say like a lot of our government is like lords of the land, unfortunately for everyone. uh what else? Okay, the third thing, yeah, the third thing. Okay, the third thing is something that I'm working very hard to figure out and learn. But the third thing essentially is called breaking the tension. It's very akin to anti-humor. Uh, it requires not just a setup, but also an energy. You have to quite literally create almost a full awkwardness or a full amount of like incredible pain or emotional trauma or what's the easiest these days, everybody and anybody social justice style is creating aggressions and creating this angers and stuff. So essentially what you want to do if you're pulling off this type of comedy, the easiest and most difficult at the same time, hands down, there's a reason you don't see it very often in reality, but at the same time you do see it flavored into other things. And it's like this, okay? You got everybody pissed off, but they're pissed off because you're using a technique of misdirection without it being a word for word misdirection. It's more of an emotional misdirection. It's just saying you get people intentionally riled up, and then that's when you punch. And then the punch you bring out is going to be something that they have an emotional roller coaster and they switch. almost immediately, or it'll have a trickle effect. That's why it also would be a wonderful way to close out your set, because you got everyone angry, and then you lay it out, and then you throw the punch, and then the first few get it real quick, and then they're laughing, and then the other ones are processing, and then realizing that those people were on their side. They're not on their side no more. Now it's like, oh wait, there's something to this, and inevitability occurs that in the perfect scenario, the whole house is laughing because you just pulled off one of the most difficult tricks, but also because you had them all go from the extreme of anger to laughter. If you can, this is a way that I've gotten out of many altercations. I'll tell you what, I know Hoop Street's coming out, but I got to work on it, mate. So I'll figure it out. But I've gotten through so many altercations through laughter. If you can get somebody laughing, if anything, if you're in the middle of a fist fight and you get someone laughing, they can't even think straight enough to throw that punch no more. It's amazing what it triggers in someone. It flips the script, that type of thing. It's very powerful laughter. Very powerful true laughter. Very powerful humor. I'm telling you. I used to say there were 3 things that could cure the world: music, humor, and food. Until I met a guy from Israel that explained to me, and furthermore, I met a guy from Turkey that also, without knowing the person from Israel, verified at the same time, and a few others in between from other countries, that there are literal wars that have been fought over something as simple as this is technically a crispy buttered tortilla, but you get what I'm saying. It was pan inspired. There are literal wars that have been broken out over which country is the original country that created something that, if you really break it down, when it comes to pan and Native Americans, what I call my peoples, the natives, right? Okay, I'm no native, but I'm saying this, like, fuck everything else. I'm team red. And when I say red, I don't mean conservatism. I mean when you break down the color wheel on the shamanic tribe system. Yeah, see, a lot of people don't recognize things like that, but the shamanic tribe wheels of the native peoples breaks it down. You got white, black, yellow, red, and then you got other stuff. I'm not going to get detailed because I ain't no shaman, though some people might call me one, but I am aware. All right? So as I getting at, the natives, you never had it, you got to try it. It's the native fry bread. And it ain't just the native fry bread that I want you to try. I want you to get yourself an authentic native taco. You understand what I'm saying here? An authentic native taco. And yeah, you can go deeper and deeper on that if you want to, but I would suggest keeping it simple. And when you having them, be like, first and foremost, this ain't no taco like a taco. If anything, it's kind of close a little bit to a chalupa, but not even. We're talking Taco Bell chalupa, because they use the type of fry bread, like similar bread that I'm talking about. Either way, man, I'm just telling you, when I would be haunting the marketplace or working at the marketplace, etc., one of my favorite things in the world would Auntie would come by with her fry breads and gift it to everyone, I mean, look, anybody got an OG about me? It don't matter, but I tell you straight up, there is one thing I know, and before there was BLM stuff and all that other stuff, like, there was near to none except for the tribes people and then a few like me marching with them in honor of their deceased, in honor of their plagues and problems. But there is not enough recognition in this to even get started. This ain't, I don't know, this ain't spilling tea. And people are gonna be disappointed for tuning in, and I have yet to even really spill some comedic tea. I don't know. I didn't really think about it. I'm not a huge gossip monger. I'm not a controversy king by any means. I am, by all definitions, an edgelord in a lot of ways. However, Casey didn't want to join today. He wants to get us going on a Monday. It would be great, though, if people would let us know. I personally do not think Mondays is good for recordings and doing, unless we were doing it every day, then yeah, do a Monday, right? If we're doing it every single day, do a Monday. I didn't say this to Casey yet, because mostly it's just he's slightly difficult in the way that, like, the littlest shit might set him off, and then he won't ever come back. And it's like, damn, dude, that's fucked for me. I need a co-host. Like, ultimately, I have to have somebody else. I mean, if anything, it's just like I love myself, like I really do. I'm truly my oldest and only fan in a lot of ways. And I mean, I'm one of the only people that's lived and seen and witnessed all the amazing and crazy and just everything about my life up till now. But that being said, all of that, even I recognize I can only go so long before it's like, dude, we need a buffer. We need somebody else, some other type of personality there. Even if it's not Casey, I gotta find somebody that can be with me. I've known that forever, and I feel that way still. If anything, so that I can take breaks in between breaths, you know. Um. So yeah, God, this is an amazing drink, by the way. Oof, I'm proud. So after I get done with this, what I'm gonna be doing is I'm going to be going on. I had, for those who are unfamiliar, especially right when COVID broke out, I wish I had bought. Speaking of stocks, I wish I had bought. Zoom got really, really popular, really, really fast. But Zoom for their cloud service, with which holds the recordings from your sessions, the cheapest one is $40 a month before taxes, or 40.99. The cheapest account you can have other than the free one is 14.99. So essentially, and I did not have a single show that I did or a single meeting that I did where I needed to have an account with Zoom for all of 2021. I shit you not. Going through these files, seeing what's on there, I literally see there's only two. No, okay, there's four separate ones, I think. But collectively, when it comes to just the video of it, there's literally one, two, three, four total from an entire year. So that's 360 61 days. But each month I was being charged $60. So $60 a month, it's already 120 in 2 months. You can consider the math. So I'm at the point where I don't ever, like, okay, look, not to brag or nothing, but there's been a few times in my life where I had a lot of fucking cash, you know? And then in full admittance, especially right when COVID broke out and I lost my gig and my job, and I also went through an existential crisis of sorts, so I was like, well, we'll see how long it lasts, but to this day I still haven't. But I said I will never write for BuzzFeed again, and there was two other ones that I'm not going to name drop because like I probably might write for those ones again. But basically, long and short is I just got of clickbait, especially when COVID broke out and stuff. But had I been smart, I'd have been doing this YouTube thing about 5 years ago. Because I got lots to say about Star Wars, and people that have heard what I have to say, even fans of certain movies in the Newborn trilogy. A lot of people love my takes, which is one of the reasons I'm here right now. I'm working on getting out there more. I know I said the last like 2 or 3 ago that I'd be getting some stuff going, but I assure you. Oh, speaking of assurances, time to take my meds before I forgets. It is so easy to forget when you like. Jeez, I just literally both of them fell out, so I'm like, okay, screw it. I had to take a mic with me down. No, I can't. Will it extend? Oh, it will. Okay, okay, okay. Everyone can listen to me as I go to pick the pills up. Okay, here's what I'm gonna say. Okay, I'm gonna not ASMR on this bitch. So what I was saying is that it is so easy, especially when you are taking medicines that don't actually, like, by all extent and purposes, you don't need. Like, I know it sounds crazy to say I'm taking meds that I don't need. However, you should really understand it's an experiment. Right, like I've always been an experiment. Everything I've ever put in my body, for the most part, post 19, when I was fully the only person that could like literally have full control, like, you know, I cannot say how much I feel for people that become a ward of the state, let alone people like Britney Spears. Like, the thing that bothers me the most about like Emily knows nothing, excuse me, Emily knows everything. Same difference though. Emily Hagen, one of the main things that bothers me about her is the fact that she never fully utilized me or my knowledge, and the fact that like she'd come to me with all this stuff about Britney, not understanding that I literally was in a conservatorship, and I literally had to fight my own family. I had to fight them to gain my rights so that I could stop taking stuff like this. But at the same time, I'm realizing now this is not the smartest thing to be doing as far as influencers go, and in general, considering the one thing I know about me is that up until right now in this moment, because I'm gonna do it anyway, just because fuck it, and I don't want to forget, I've done a good job of taking these well in advance before having any drinks. But right now, I'm literally taking these with the slight of, like you all saw it, you saw me pour it, like basically a half shot of vodka, and then I'm gonna finish the tall boy. So that's 1 pint of light beer. Oh, the caffeine, I don't even, dude, don't even get me started. Anyway, we'll see. If I get really messed up right now, I'll be impressed. So where was I at? I mean, there's so many different things to talk about. My head's always like, dude, more vodka, more vodka. You want that alcohol, the liquor. It is crazy. I mean, I've never actually like lost full control. Like I've literally like, okay, the worst I ever got was I got so messed up. But here's the thing, people like, I'm pretty sure a lot of people are like that and like me. But you go to the same bars in the same areas and you kind of just get into this flow, and especially if you live in the areas or camp in the areas, etc., you get into like a full flow. And so basically, like, it don't matter how much you drink, for the most part, you will follow that flow. So there were ample times, an example, where whether it was the drugs that I put in my system mixed with the amount I had already had and then having alcohol on top of it, whether it was the fact that there was once or twice when I know for a fact I was at certain bars where I literally did get actually drugged by, and I know people always are like, what the heck, man, or like stuff like that, but like in all reality, the 2 times I got drugged were by dudes. One time I know for a fact was an accident because the girl and me were at the bar next to each other with exact same drink, and so I know that time was not meant for me, but the other time was literally a homosexual male. So I just want people to know, like, it don't matter. It's just what it is. Like, and that, like, one of those bars specifically in Washington got in trouble very heavily for what they did. Like, it's not that they solicited it, it's not that they allowed it, but in all reality, you get only so many complaints. But there's actually a notorious bar in LA area that I haven't checked out yet. I might never check out. I'm not going to name drop it because I can't even remember it. Only thing I remember specifically about this place is that it is known that the bartenders are drugging people, which is insanity. So, yeah, man. Anyways, like the worst, like I'd say what one of, if not probably the worst thing that ever happened to me was one night I was passed out where I would normally pass out. I was sleeping on the bench where I would normally sleep on the bench, and I legitimately got abducted by those AMR people. And if I were on different drugs, I might have thought they was aliens abducting me, I swear, until I came lucid and came to and be like, how did I end up in a hospital? But instead, I vaguely and unfortunately remember several things from that. Like I remember they forced something into my system that caused me to vomit a shit ton. I remember that I had a cut on my eye and eyebrow over here somewhere. It's like right here. You can't see it necessarily very well, but they forced sutures on me, sutures or whatever, aka like Stitcher's Mini or Stitches Mini or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like it was not necessary. It was literally the scam that they were running. Um, what else? Oh, when I was leaving, there was a drunk, like, who must have been a regular at this specific location, and he looked at me, and I was like, "Damn, what the hell? Like, what the hell, man? Like, what the hell? Like, because I was like still kind of in betweens and whatever, but like, I as soon as I was like together enough to tell them I'm leaving, like, I'm getting the fuck out of here. I shouldn't be here, etc. So I'm leaving, and like this dude, he looks like William H. Macy's character from Shameless, no doubt. Like he's one of those bummy bums and like a regular there type of dum dum. And well, not that he's dumb. I mean, everybody makes their decisions in life. And he goes, dude, I've never heard that nurse so angry. She hates you. And I was just like, all right, man, whatever. I'm getting the fuck out of Dodge City. And then I stumbled across the street to where the bus picks up and then never looked back. I was I talking about Kenneth Lyon yet? Okay, so Kenny Lyons hasn't talked to me in a while. Like, he'll view my stories, but here's the thing, and people need to understand this is so true. But if you look on your Instagram or your Facebook stories and you see people, especially certain types, like not this is not about Kenny specifically. This is about actually a girl that Laura Lyon actually specifically. I don't mind talking about her that way. But Laura Lyon, I literally had to restrict and or block her because she's watching my stories with intent by design and not in the good ways. Kenny is more like people like, you know, Mike Sassa and stuff. They'll check out my stories because they are slightly interested in me. Or like Mike Moody, I love him very much. He's a wonderful comic up and coming in LA scene. And I got nothing to say about him but good words. Like, I'm truly impressed by his comedy. Every time I see him, there's improvements. There's a mix of the old material increased and better, and then also new stuff that he's working out. But he's masterful by design in a lot of ways. I don't want to talk about his material because he's not here to talk about his material. But I will say, one of my favorite things about him is he has a specific like thing that he talks about that hits very close to home for me personally, and it's because of a lot of things, but he essentially is talking about correlations and stuff when it comes to specific cinemas, and he finds a beautiful, masterfully way to explain how the Lovecraft show and also the Watchmen TV series on HBO are the same thing in a lot of ways, and it's very cool. But it also hits closer to home in a lot of ways, in the sense of, like, for me personally, it's like especially the Watchmen, because the Seattle cops, when they were really getting at their worst for us, they literally, that's what they did. They put on the yellow bandanas and everything, and it's just don't even get me started. It's got nothing to do with comedy T. So to go back to what I was saying is to break it down, was simply put, Kenny, I'll see him seeing my story crawl now and again and stuff. As the kids say, I'm one of them, but left on scene, or left on red. So when I message him about even being on here, because Casey is a huge, huge, huge fan, and ultimately he's just like a big time guy when it comes to my life, and I really respect Casey and his perspectives, and one of the main things about him is he only values, like, and I might be talking out of place, but he's not here to defend it or to accept it or to agree with it, but I'm pretty sure this is the case. Casey only values and respects and loves and appreciates real comedy. And then when I say real comedy, I'm not talking about like, oh, I'm saying true comedy in a lot of ways, the most real comedy, and the best in a lot of ways, truly. It sounds like I'm doing all this wordy stuff, but basically, when it applies to comedy itself, when you actually are telling a story that happened to you, that's an easy example. But more so, when you're talking about how you do things or you live a life that most people either feel too good to be a part of, which is shows that they're bullshit people and have no true fucking values and moral compass, aka the difference between a prolly and a fucking, or the difference between a soci and a fucking greaser kind of thing. But it's poor people have more fun. But whatever. So there's the snood, and then there's also the people that are like, you know, they wish they could live that kind of life in a lot of ways. They're envious in a lot of ways of the freedoms that are attached to what you do. But at the same time, also, when it comes to the truth and the reality and all that good stuff, Kenny also is, and this is the thing he's known for, is he literally just is like, this is how I see it, and this is how I'm gonna say it. And it ain't nobody gonna get me to back down, period. And if they ever even want to, I'm itching for a fight, even though I shouldn't be. And that's like in Kenny and Mai's actual live situations when he was like, it's when it's gonna come around. But when he and I would be together and stuff like that, and in general chatting and conversing and stuff, that is one thing I told him I was concerned about because he reminds me so much of myself, like less than 10 years ago. And it wasn't that I was always looking for a fight or itching for a fight. It was just more like, and I still am this way in a lot of ways, but I'm the first one to fight. And you build up this certain amount of what it is, but at the same time, it's different to go looking for a fight. And mind you, I'm not talking about verbal, I'm talking about physical altercations here. I'm talking about things that you could end up in the drunk tank for a night, or you could end up looking at a lifetime sentence for accidental manslaughter. And I'm not even kidding around about that. I mean, I myself have stories about it, and I would bring it more to the stage because people were telling me you need to do more of your real stuff. You need to tell LA. You need to tell these people who you really are. You need to be more of a braggart, basically, or a just a tell-all. And I'm like not used to that because of just my life story in a lot of ways. A majority of the negative things, and I don't want to say they're negative because they made me a better person in the long haul, but also I would never want to do it again, and I would never want to put anyone through it. But the worst of the worst oftentimes came from a person that either I trusted with things that I shouldn't have, mainly secrets, right? That kind of thing. Not that I have a lot of secrets, but when I say secrets, I mean, like, for example, there's the typical white girl who never saw no tragedy, who thinks like gangsters are super sexy and super interesting because she thinks gangsters are exotic and dangerous, etc. Right? And then there's the ones that are real, right? And so when you separate those two apart, what I'm getting at is like if I said something about like a situation that went down, because I the one thing about me is I cannot lie. I really can't. Like you're not gonna hear me. You're very rarely gonna hear me lying because it legitimately creates a sickness in my stomach. It literally like you will know most times if I'm lying because I will stutter or I will like kind of suffer or the one time I get okay, I shouldn't be saying this stuff considering, but in all reality, I'm not afraid to be honest. Once this is my default option, but realistically, here's how it goes. It goes like this. If I'm completely silent after you ask me something, it literally means most likely I do not want to continue because I cannot. Like a true shithead is gonna lie to your face with no remorse, no issue, and the scariest ones of all are gonna be able to do it with a straight, like right to your face. No nervous tick, no weird fucking wonky thing with their eye, no slight variation in their voice. A really, truly, and I'm gonna say scary motherfucking person. That's really, 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 really some of the worst types in the world, period. Are the ones that have the ability to lie to your face straight up with no symptoms, no signs, because they're overriding every amount of them that knows that they're telling a lie. More importantly, they also are fully able to like they are programming into themselves this empowerment of it. It's not a lie, even though it is 100% a lie. So either way, Casey values true comedy over anything else, and Casey loves Kenny's list of 100 comics that everyone should hate alongside him. Basically, that's my self-appointed title for it. It's literally one of the things he got most popular for in the last 5 years. But at the same time, another comic came out with his own, and that's Ian Russo, and like I don't got no tea to pill. Like literally, Ian Russo, like he's okay. When I was coming through LA as a nobody, like I'm still a nobody, but if you understand what I'm saying, a vagrant nobody and a traveling nobody, the times I would go through it, there was one person that he's changed a little bit in some ways. Like, for example, I swear he used to wear his glasses all the time, especially when I saw him at the Hollywood Improv, but then he doesn't anymore. Might have switched contacts, might not wear them. I don't care. The point is, he also used to wear more different uniform outfit type thing. Like, I don't know. I just know that he is the same dude, is what I'm getting at. So, anyways, one of the greatest rips he did on me was the fact that he's like, oh, I see you at Accidental Chaos all the time, but that's it. I don't see you anywhere else. How are you even here? Even how do you even consider yourself a comic? Even that's paraphrasing, but I loved it. It was a great rip, and it was a motivational rip because I realized I was like, either or, if he doesn't see me, he's very right. I should be hitting more fucking places than I already am. Like at that time, I think there was 3 mics total I was going to, one of which, rest in peace, Vicky's. I miss you. I miss Johnny. He's still alive. I miss Izzy. I miss like the atmospheres in a lot of ways. I miss like the ridiculousness. I miss just all that. But you know, it's what it is. It happened. And anyways, that's no more. But either way, Accidental Chaos was, you know, it's what it is. So I need to branch out, and I did. But Ian Rosso came out with his top list. Fun thing. When Kenny comes out with his, it's one thing, and I see people talking about it. When Russo came out with his, I literally had comics I was observing, as I do, fighting over this Ian Russo list. And some of them were like, why am I not on it? And other ones were like, why am I lower than da-da-da-da? And I was just like, dang, so this how it be? Anyways, I don't know. I need to eat. God, I want to eat. I need another co-host. I need somebody else here, damn it. Anybody, everybody, come on, join the Love Fest. Come on, be a part of my life. I'm lonely. Not really. Never lonely when you always talk to yourself. So anyway, Kenny don't talk to me, right? He still watch my stories, but he don't talk to me. Now, I have a very strong and I believe very verifiable, just like I'm almost 100 on this why. And it's not because of any other reason other than I told him no. And the reason I told him no is he wanted me to put the Future Player Society's name onto a show at a venue that he had permission to perform a show at, and he was going to provide all the mic and the speaker and all that. And he was going to do a whole he was going to basically, it was his show with our name attached. And mind you, I had offered him months prior and told him straight up, I want to give you this show. I will help you and do everything in my power to give you a show, because every time I'd see his story crawls, every time I'd see him at mics, every time in general, Kenny Lyon would always be griping, and one of the gripes I would hear more than any other gripe, and you'll still hear those gripes. Go ahead and go check out Band Girl Podcast. Highly recommend it in the sense of you will really get to understand Kenny Lyon and a lot of his mindset. And in all reality, it's something that, love it or hate it, it's very truthful and it's very real, and it's a great perspective into everything and anything as far as using comedy to heal, having a shit time with meds and therapists, and everything else. But the thing is, when you gripe and you're moaning and you're bitching, and one of the main things you're saying is, why does such and such get a show and I don't get on their show, and why does such and such have a show and I don't have a show, and yada 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 yada. And then someone like me, who's newer to LA but has no intention of leaving LA, is fucking literally saying, I will get the venue, I will pay for the venue, I will do everything except for it's your show and you get the comics you want. Never hearing back from the motherfucker. I'm told, like, he's fucking told me a few times when I was suffering in my depressional circuit, and he'd be like, I ought to have you on my podcast and we could talk about depression and how serious and hardcore it is and shit. And I was like, all right, let's do it. Never hear back from the motherfucker. Same thing applies to inviting him on ours to discuss things in general. But also in the past, he's been like, man, I love all this shit that you're saying, blah, blah, blah. Like, I just think, like, you got this perspective. I want to know more about the future players in general and the SNL dreams. And, like, mostly, I know I read into it a little deeper. I'm like, he wants to shit on me, which is fine. That's what friends do in a lot of ways. And also, I know that I'm valuable in that way. I know a lot of people respect me in a lot of ways because I don't give up and I won't give up, and I'm not going to stop until Lorne Michaels himself offers me the damn job. And I hope to God it happens in this next fucking 3 or 4 months before season 48 or 47, whichever one's coming up. I'm pretty sure it's season 48 coming up next. Either way, my ticking clock is dropping in a lot of ways. But at the same time, I am getting my stuff together. I am starting to slowly function as a regular human being. We're coming up on an hour of me alone talking with near to nobody chatting, and that's pretty impressive. I hope that anybody that stuck around to listen to this, actually, now would be a good time. I have a giveaway. I will give $1 to anybody and everybody that comments, and when I say that, I mean specifically answering the question of the week. So, toward the end of this, I will give the question, and anybody who wants to can comment with a reply, and you will get guaranteed pay service of choice. So we got Venmo, PayPal, or Cash App. Of those three, you will get one free dollar. Literally, all you have to do is post your answer to the question of the week that I'm going to propose, or the question that I say in general. And when you put that, then I will message you directly. I'm pretty sure I can do that, or I will do whatever it takes to get a hold of you, and you will get yourself a free dollar. And anybody that doesn't want a free dollar just for a comment does not understand that not many people are willing to even do that, because whatever. But in my head, shit, man, I would take 1, 2, 3 comments, $3 out my pocket, and I was gonna talk about budgeting, but that's not really spilling the tea unless there's like something like I got screwed over by somebody or something. So anyway, roping it back around, what I was saying is, Kenny finally come around like a couple months ago to me, and he's like, I want to do this show, and I got the venue, I got it. I just want you to put the FPS name on it. And I'm like, all right, yeah, but what's the, essentially, like, I was kind of trying to figure out what's the catch, Kenny, like, what's the deal? Why all of a sudden now? Long and short is he's got beef. Like, Kenny got beef with just about everybody in the damn LA scene. But in all reality, he got beef with this guy, Scott Kidd. And Scott Kidd, for those who are unaware, you can look and research Scott Kidd. He'll be first to tell you he was affiliated with and a big part of the Ding Dong Show. Those who don't know the Ding Dong Show, go to And we're back. I really couldn't even begin to describe what just happened. It's either my laptop or it's actually the internet at this place I stay at. But lucky enough, it was only like 3 minutes, a long pause or whatever. I'm gonna end it here. I've been going for an hour. I know there's a lot more to say, but in all reality, I mean, look, okay. I'll give you guys more time. I'm just concerned that it's gonna happen again. So that's all there is to it. But I'll finish first. Okay, so and this is gonna, I mean, this is, yeah, this is comedy gossip, if you will, and this is interesting stuff to people that care. So anyway, this guy Scott Kidd, you can look him up, Ding Dong Show. If you go to twitch.tv, try and find it. But the Don Barris, the Ding Dong Show, I just recommend Don Barris all the time in general because whatever. Either way, Scott Kidd, I see him on and off. I actually enjoy him, even though like most of his jokes and material are just basically stories. I enjoy his stories, especially since down in Louisiana, a lot of people don't realize, but like I spent my time or two, and I got long-term relative descendantship type stuff down in Louisiana, and in general. So like he's not from there specifically, he's been there, and he's from that same general southern area. So I understand and enjoy it. Anyway, Kenny's a hater on that in a lot of ways, but mostly Kenny's just what he is. But he was so upset at Scott Kidd that he wanted to set up this entire elaborate scheme of a show just so Scott Kidd would show up thinking Scott Kidd was on the show, and he could be like, "Oh, you're not on the show." I told Kenny, I says, Kenny, look, firstly, I'm not gonna do that because in all regard, it means that I'm putting the company's name on something that is not even a real show. That's when it started. Kenny took offense in the sense that Kenny Lyon would be like this. He's like, "No, it's a real show. It's just also this." And I'm like, "No, then it's a prank. It's a very, very elaborate prank, but it's still a prank." And then he went in to layer heavier, and he goes, "It shouldn't matter to you. You live in LA, and you're saying you're gonna be the big comic. You're never gonna get that style unless you do that. Your show's a show. You should be here doing it. You should be on board." Well, ultimately, that's another example of me not giving him what he wanted, and therefore him lashing out. That's how I felt it. That's how I still feel. I think that people need to realize that it's not all forms of narcissism are negative, but all forms of narcissism that are reparable should be repaired. Because in all reality, nothing good and nothing positive comes out of a person that's truly in this bubble of, in his case, it's poor me syndrome is a good way to put it. But a lot of it is, and in some ways I can respect, and in a lot of ways this is why I still am open to being friends mostly, but also just appreciate and value and follow this guy, because a lot of times, especially since I live in LA now, and I really am witnessing a lot of the people that he talked about, and in general the stuff that he talked about, and it is 100% accurate. At the same time, I'm not gonna do stuff like that. Also, I just got done putting on 2 shows and having it go awful because I had to do everything, and I had potentials involved and all this other stuff. And I have comics that were on the show telling me like, "Dude, especially you had a headliner, da 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 da." And it's like, yeah, I recognize all of that, but I also recognize that I went into debt, which isn't a big deal. It wasn't too far into debt, but it was like in the negative. It didn't make no money. I mean, I literally for 2 different shows only sold 1 ticket, and I didn't even sell that ticket. It was one of the comics on the show, and then he felt so guilty he reimbursed the girls, even though the girls got plenty of gifts because they were literally the only audience member of that show. But anyway, the point is, I was burnt out beyond burnt out. I was not about to even take on any stressors to put a show on. And Kenny, even if he was going to take care of everything, was still asking me to put my name on the line because he couldn't let Scott Kidd know that it was actually him doing everything. But here's the thing. First, I don't really know Scott that well. Second, all the times it's been negative, if you will, or anything that could be construed as negative about Scott Kidd, not a single time has it not been personal. When it comes to Robbie Schroeder, it's personal, and he barely knows the guy. When it comes to the other person, I can't remember their name because it's a comic that disappeared as far as I'm concerned. I haven't seen in a long time. It was personal again. And then when it comes to fucking Kenneth Lyon, it's fucking personal. Anytime someone want to come up in my fucking, my radius, anytime someone want to come up to me and they want to tell me something about a person, especially a person I don't fucking know personally, especially a person I've never met personally, you best have not just what they call receipts, But ultimately, you best understand that the more personal it sounds, the less likely I am to give a damn. And the reason why is because most of people's conflicts that come from a personal place are directly relative to their lack of ability to fight their own personal shadow, or shadows plural. And when I live in the world where I face and destroy and constantly can't stand and just like, look, I got a lot, all right? A lot. But then I had a lot more. And at one point, I had so much that you would never see me not fist clenched, in a rage, feeling trapped entirely, whether it be in a literal cage, as in the facilities or the jails or the juvies, or it be a mental cage in the sense of there's no way out of this place where I'm being forced to take medicines, for example, or I'm constantly being told, this is my favorite, and to this day, it's still my favorite, but ample amounts of these therapists would tell me as I'm sitting down or lying down and they're sitting there looking at me, they would tell me that because of your higher functioning or lower functioning in general, because you are autistic, you will never be able to understand humor. You will never be able to stand up and perform comedy. You will never. These are the words that I cannot stand. Never tell me never unless you can quite literally prove it to me. Otherwise, depending on the scenario, I will prove you wrong 100% of the time. Here's an example of an exception. Flight. I have been at sometimes so drunk that I really thought about jumping off a bridge, not because I wanted to die, but because this might be the night I learned to fly and it would change my life entirely type of thing. I do truly believe that a lot of our inner strengths and spiritualities, just like in a manga, just like in anime, cartoons, comic books, etc. I do believe that the higher amounts of stressors and trauma and actual physical threats like of your life, that it does actually activate things. I do believe that very much, 100%. It's been proven in several different ways. Easy example off the top of my head. A mother whose child is about to die suddenly has the strength to literally do things like lift a car, lift a garage door, lift things that there's no way that woman would ever be able to lift. But because of the duress she's under, because of her offspring being about to be into a situation, there's just magic involved. Like, not literal magic, but then again, maybe that's a good term for it. The point is pulling things out of her mind that were not normally there. Getting adrenaline, especially getting these things that temporarily jack us up, similar to what drugs can do. So either way, I told Ken no. I was like, look, man, no. You do you. You have fun with that, but no. You can hit me up when you want to be on a podcast together. You can hit me up when you want to do actual sketches and funny stuff together, like on the road, on the sidewalk stuff. Like at this point, the way I feel about this guy is he creeps on my storylines to kind of keep tabs on me, but ultimately he doesn't reply anymore. He leaves my things that I send him on red as or unseen or whatever. And ultimately, like, the one thing I'm gonna say about this guy is he's a glutton for his own self indoctrinating punishment. He's a self saboteur. He is a person that does like something that is a term. It's like how you can have premonitions or you can have futuristic, like you can see the future type of thing. So it's you are basically predicting an outcome before it even gets a chance to even actualize, and it's always a negative thing. So it's like, oh, this is not going to be any different. And so you basically mentally prepare yourself for a failure in advance, even though there's a chance that if you actually came at it with a fresh start, you would maybe succeed or you maybe break even, but you aren't guaranteed that it's going to be a failure, with the exception of you're going to create it when you really manifest it. And like ample times, the things I've told him and other people since I've been in LA, even I've noticed the outcomes. Like for example, he would tell me things like he said, "I'm not allowed to accidental chaos," and I was like, "Okay, Tommy and Adam, neither of them ever said that." The one thing Tommy said is, "I'm fine with you performing here, but please just stop taking your clothes off." And like people that know Kenny gotta understand, like he's an exhibitionist, and also he's wild. But at the same time, if you're not finding the funny, it's like Don Barris tried to attempt to tell him back in the day. So the point is, neither of them told him he can't come back there ever again. The person that told him he can't come back there ever again is the same person who attempted to tell me the same stuff and has told other comics the same stuff. It's the one person that's like basically, it's like their greatest weakness. Like everything aside, the thing about this person specifically is that more than any other person, and like this person's name comes up to me in my personal DMs. Literally people saying things like vouching for me and my belief system, but also verifying. Sometimes they come back around and they're like, "Oh my god, I know you said all this stuff, but at the time I thought you was just being a gossip monger. At the time I thought you was just being overreactive. At the time I thought you was just being all this and this. But then I fucking witnessed this thing, and it in all reality, it typically happens when something happens to them from this person and it's personal. And therefore, when it's personal, it gets more powerful to them personally. And therefore, then they suddenly click, 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 and they realize that one of the few people who's like, don't get me wrong, Kenny Lyon is great, but he's also fucking not together. He's not together, and I don't think he ever wants to be together at this point. But people like me have almost complete togetherness because they never are coming from a place of priority where they want to be better. I don't want to be better than anybody else, period. I don't want to be more famous. I don't believe in, like, me personally, the only thing I want is to be on Saturday Night Live, and not simply be on Saturday Night Live, but gain the access to all the abilities to show and mostly prove to myself everything. But also, I'm not simply attempting to prove it to myself because I already know. I'm attempting to show myself and witness that this stuff is actually possible. This stuff actually is real. That's why this stuff is so important to me, because when people can go back and see it, the future's audience in the present moment realizes that I am one of the few people who has done and constantly doing every single thing I say I am. I said I was going to put on a show. I found a venue. I put on a show. I didn't simply do that. I said that I was going to link through my website. I was going to have a card that I could pull up the extras up there. And it was going to have a scan code. And then it was going to go to the website. And also da-da-da-da-da. And I did it. And I did it. And I did it. I told people that I'm going to keep coming here, even if this person specifically is telling me I'm not allowed, because until Tommy Boy or until Adam themselves, who are the actual people who pay the bill to own that facility, tell me otherwise, there's nobody that's going to stop me. And matter of fact, I would show up and there would be multiple people saying, "Oh, I haven't seen you in a while, man. It's good to see you." Saying things like, "Hey, what have you been up to, man?" Saying things like, just in general, like, "It's good to see you." You do not hear those things when you're at a place where you're not wanted. There was a person there who didn't want me there. You see the differentiation. And in Kenneth's case, it doubled down with the other person. But in my case, it was just this one person. And I had just an ample opportunity. Look, I'm just going to say it. Fuck it. Whatever. If he finds out, he finds out. But it's Nathan Lowe I'm talking about. Period. Hands down. What it is. At this point, Tom asked me very kindly, very comfortably, and very, very, like, honestly. Tom says to me, he goes, "Look, I don't ask much, if anything, from anyone, let alone you. But could you please just lay off my boy? Lay off my friend. Just please, could you just leave him, like, just stop," kind of thing. He says, like, basically all he says is, like, he doesn't tell me, because I think personally he kind of understands me a little bit more by the day. But also I think ultimately he's in a place where he doesn't necessarily disagree with where I'm coming from in a lot of ways. But ultimately, he made sure that I understood. He's like, "Look, man, I really, like, you're valued here enough that, like, I'm not telling you not to come back, all that stuff. But if you don't mind, if you could pull it off, would you please just stop? Like, stop just doing what you're doing about because you're upsetting him to an extreme level of like causing me and us stuff. And like ultimately like it's more about he is a part of we, which means like whatever, it doesn't matter, but the truth is at the end of the night, beginning of the day, in the middle of the afternoon, Adam and Tommy have accepted Nathan Lowe into their hearts, into their home, into everything, in the sense of like it's what it is at this point. So the comics that say all this stuff in my DMs, I am not gonna out because I'm not spilling tea in that way, and I'm not. All I'm gonna say is that I'm not making it up neither. But there are certain people in my messages and in person at different shows. Like I'll say, for example, the last show I was at when this came up was at a show that's on off of Sunset. It's on Rooftop Sunset. Young Baka. Highly recommend Young Baka. Nothing negative to say about Young Baka. Young Baka Productions. Everybody and anybody should definitely do their best to not simply be a part of, but also just work with and help the beauty that is what Young Baka Productions is working toward, which is everything I'm about in so many ways. Like I played Nas to enter this, not just because it's literally a song about Sunday brunch, but also because on my list of people, when I get to SNL, I want Nas and Rakim to be performing on a show in New York, live from New York. It's Saturday night. You should have motherfuckers who literally built a majority of that city as far as I'm concerned for the modern generations when it comes to raw, real, lyrical, valuable, just all of that. If you want to say you're a show that respects and admires and grows to adhere to diversity, and you don't have people like Rakim on, you fucking wrong. I'm sorry, but that's just the real fucking real. Anyway, as it applies to that place, one of my favorite moments, I came. Oh, here's the other thing I didn't mention. When I go to Accidental Chaos, most times I go because either A, I was invited or asked to be there. Like, say, for example, in the case of Danny Archillo's birthday roast, he asked me to be there. He wanted me there. So I came out to perform and to be a part of and to show up and everything for Danny. Now, in this currents I'm getting at, it was I was at a I was literally at one mic that was in a park, and then we all ended up meeting at this other mic that was at this Mexicana restaurant the mic's run by an Italian. I'm never gonna forget that. It cracked me the fuck up. I love it. But anyways, from that to accidental, because the comic that I'm not gonna name drop him because he's a person that while he's learning to respect me and he's growing on, like, I'm growing on him, if you will, at the same time he's the type of person that has told me, I don't need you to promote me, I don't need you to tell people about me, I don't need you to do all this shit. And it's not because of negativity, it's literally just because he's the type that wants to do everything and anything and just hasn't hit a point in his life, and it's just what it is. And I'm not going to name drop him no matter how much I want to, because I really appreciate and value this comic. What I'm getting at is this comic, I'll say Peter Nesh, though, he's the other comic that so what happened is we came to Accidental because he gave me a ride there. We went there together, and then we was doing our own thing, but we was all there. I was mostly there to appreciate the comedy and may or may not perform until I seen Pete Nesh there. Then I was like, all right, I'll probably perform tonight, mainly because I hadn't seen Pete in a minute and I want to perform with Pete or Pete alongside, etc. But the point is, Pete Nash and this other comic, and then another comic, all witnessed this. What literally happened is, leading up to this moment, he had attempted to do it also prior to, like, in the hallway toward the bathroom. Okay? But this is the thing, all right? Especially about me, the fact that I'm mostly sober, almost 100% sober most of the time now, mainly because, A, it's what it is, mostly a mindset thing, but also B, I just, in general, if it's not free, it's not for me. Oh, that is a great flavor combination, folks. I'm telling you. Any type of ale, but definitely Corona. And the Red Bull Dragon Fruit. So beautiful. All right. So, what I'm getting at is, oh, where'd my ring go? Holy crap. What am I doing without my special stuff on, man? You gotta have your special, right? No wonder I felt a little naked inside. Inside, spiritual purposes, right? No, the point is this. All right, into the hallway to go to the bathroom, I could sense the energy, and I could tell homie been drinking, right? So anyway, then leaving, I go out the back way, come back around, just because I don't want to disturb the show inside or whatever. And then it'd be like that thing too, where Pete's like going in and out too to see the comedy. So like whatever. And so the other comic that I arrived with, like I said, he doesn't necessarily like. It's not that he doesn't appreciate me by any means. If anything, he's one of my favorite people because every time we're around, the more and more, I'm one of the only people that's very much like, if he tells me something, I listen and I do. Not like tells me to do something. I'm saying things like, for example, he said to me straight up, like, hey man, while I understand what you're doing, I don't. And from that point forward, I have never, ever, no matter how strongly I know it would work out to benefit this guy, I do not say shit. I do not, like, because something's until I'm told otherwise, when it comes to people I'm close with, when it comes to people I respect, when it comes to just in general what I am, I find myself in special places all the time. And I'm the first one to mention other people beside myself. That's just what I am. That's who I am. I care more about everyone else because of the fact of how much I don't. Like, I love myself. I really, really value myself. I want more people to actually not worship and idolize, but more be admired by and aspire to be more like myself. Okay? I didn't start, I mean, I did have a natural gift for cooking, but it took actual effort, like paying attention to things like recipe, but also more importantly, flavors and da 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 da. Same thing with comedy, everything, etc. But mostly, I just want people. What I really, really want is just to be able to be myself. But the point is, this comic, other than Peter Nash, is great. But at this time, I come back around. I'm not linking on to him. I mean, he's there. We're conversing. We're chill. But he's the type of guy now, more than ever, that I let him be him and I be me. And we kind of are there together. He's one of the only people I've ever met, let alone the only comic I've ever met in LA, that actually saw things as they are, the way I do. Which is, we're not fucking friends. Not him. Hi, I'm saying specifically all these comics pretend like they're friends with each other. That's just exclusive to their scene? No. Probably in the music world, probably in the rap world, probably in the what's it called? Let's just say insurance. I was thinking of something else, but you get what I'm saying. It might just also be a super LA thing. But in general, these people acting like they're friends, they're not. Like, literally, when I hit my peak with Nathan Lowe, it was literally, like, I just couldn't stand it anymore because he was never, ever, and has never to this day shown any sign of anything at all that is actually even close to friendship, especially on my level, which is a level where you put others before yourself. That's what a true friend does. Literally, I would have a show, let's say an urban show, and have two comics that I'm close with and like a lot that are urban comics. And I have the potential and the ability and the desire to prove that, much like Jay Okerson from earlier or Jim Brewer, I am fully capable of. That said, all of that said, I would sooner talk about my two other people, helping them to attemptively get them shows to help them, before I would put myself on the line. And that's like an extreme example, but my point is this. Just like I'm terrible at selling myself, I'm also never, ever, and I don't mind at this point. It's a redeemable quality that I love about myself, that I am capable and that I don't mind. And then I actually truly love and value, even though it has yet to really ever come back to me. You know, like, you would think to some extent, and I'm not gonna lie, especially when I was way younger, that is kind of how it would be a little bit. It's like thinking, oh, like, ultimately, the more I help everyone around me, at some point it's gonna bounce back tenfold, and I'm gonna get exactly what I desire, need, and want, blah, blah, blah. But at some point, it all just becomes what it really is, which is like, you don't do this for you. You do this to help others. You do this because A, you love their comedy or respect their personality or everything. You just do things for others because why shouldn't you? Oh, because you're a selfish piece of shit. That's why I don't like Nathan Lowe. Because everybody that says otherwise has no idea. Because this is the thing about people like that. Unless you catch them off their game, which happened that night, I'm going to get around. Don't worry. I'm going to get back to it. Everyone's going to appreciate this because it's hilarious, especially to me. But unless you get them in those moments, then they're always going to have their mask on. And you can look up psychology terms and find out what the mask is. But essentially what it is the face that you show other people that isn't who you are in order to maintain a presentation of a person that you wish to be or wish to be represented as, etc., so on and so forth. And it's the exact antithesis and opposite of real comedy, true comedy, and everything I'm about. In many ways, Nathan Lowe is an antithesis and an example of everything that, in my opinion, you should not want to be, you should not aspire to be, you should never even want to get near. Because he doesn't simply pander to an audience. He replicates successful comics in attempt to succeed faster. He cuts every corner possible in his attempts to succeed faster. He is the first person that will sell every single person out, no issues attached, knowing he will gain something and have no remorse about it. He puts on this aura and this presentation to others, especially females who are easier to trick than males, especially males who've been through way too much shit to deal with his shit. And people, like, I legitimately have a guy, I'm not going to name drop him, but he's a guy that I knew before I moved to LA. That's a comic that is remotely successful, has been paid to perform, is an easy example of why I say remotely successful. Has a terrible YouTube presence, though, could have an extreme one, it's fine. But I was legitimately friends with this person. Like, and I'm talking about, like I said before, when I would be at a certain thing and something would come up, and he was the first name that would come out of my mouth. That is how close I was to this person. When this person moved into their new home, I was the only person that helped him move his stuff. I mean, technically the girl, may or may not be together anymore, was with him. Like, she had her own car, all that cool, fun stuff. But she did not, she was just typical. Man, no. I and him moved everything from his place that he was at to his new home. I even went so far as, like, I respected and understood what he was up to and let him do his Santeria magic. I could not go into the place until he had purified it entirely type of stuff. Nobody else helped the motherfucker move, except for me. Because that's how much I care, and that's what a real fucking friend does, etc. Now where we stand, I told him, if you move again, don't ask me. If you need something, don't ask me. We are no longer family friends. We are no longer friends. At the most and at the minimum, at this point, we are only associates mainly because of the fact that I straight up said shit that pissed him off because I was telling him the fucking truth. But ultimately, the night that I have it on record, I have it recorded. It's probably going to be one of my most favorite things ever when I'm successful, and all that other greatness, because I can look back on it being like, you always were the Kennison motherfucking type. You sober or straight, it don't matter. You're late and you're gonna fucking do what you do because you showed up to perform, etc. This comic that I'm talking about is the type of person that you would think and preaches like they respect a person like me that showed up to perform, and if they're told, like, you can't perform tonight, and they're like, why? I came here to perform, even if it's just for me. And that night, fucking Tommy, I don't want to... technically, this is spilling into comedy. So Tommy had one too many substances and was messed the fuck up to the point of, like, all people were worried. But when you've seen friends, you've had fucking people die in your life from drugs, Just like I love people that act like they can take a fucking hit and try and act all tough. But if they ever got fucking punched, you know what happened? They'd start crying like Cartman. They'd start freaking the fuck out. Because in reality, most people, they talk big games. But they don't understand it. The reality is not, it's not, no. Reality is I didn't ask to get hit, I got hit. Reality is you would never hear me dropping the N-word in casual conversation, let alone in public, let alone to degrade a person with darker skin to me because I think it's asinine, and I would come up with far better terminology that they may or may not understand because they may or may not be intelligent enough, etc., and so on and so forth. Yet, I look enough like the person who says it, therefore I have even in one or two situations, but one specifically I'm getting at, been jumped by 5 fucking people with dark skin because they presumed I was the one that said that word at them, which I would never do because A, I don't know who they are, B, I don't give a fuck about who they are, or give a fuck. You're not gonna hear me just casually spurting out that damn word because there's way better words in my lexicon. Yet, I almost got my shit kicked in to the point of death because of that type of fucking caliber ignorance. The point is, mainly, that night this motherfucker drank so much that he couldn't hold his mask for shit. And he just started yelling at me. And so you had Peter Nash and then the other comic I mentioned, I'm not going to say. And then this other comic, I wish I could remember his name. He was really chill. And he was actually, at the end of this, you'll be like, oh shit, he's the only one that actually stepped up for him. Well, I mean, it's not that Peter didn't, but it's kind of like Peter, I don't know. Peter and Adam are in a category of people that are like, I don't know. Like, how do I explain things when to me I don't like it, but at the same time it's a quality that I like is not like it's not like they're eating the skin of babies or some shit, right? It's just literally a personality trait that I don't admire and I wish less people had it inside them, which is like a fear of conflict or etc. But like I didn't say anything to Nathan except for I kept repeating back. He would just yell. He was just yelling. Dude, he was slandering the fuck out of me. He was saying that I'm a rapist, which is ridiculous considering if you know me, if anyone knows me, they would know one thing for sure. Ever since I come to LA, I've had way less lays than I ever had before, but ultimately that's just what it is. I'm not going out and chasing tail like I am chasing the fucking Saturday Night Live dream. I accepted like years ago now. It's like, look, man, look no further than Petey Davidson and understand, or Skeet, as Ye calls him, but look no further than fucking that to understand how it really be. Literally, I know what the fuck's gonna happen. As soon as I'm in the public eye, not just the public's eye or the public brown eye, I'm literally, when I'm out there and I'm there, I'm gonna be the best fucking performer they've seen in years. I'm gonna be the next Will Ferrell, if you will, because there has been nobody since Will Ferrell. But I'm gonna be better than Will Ferrell, I guarantee you that. And here's the reason I know why. I know, it's nothing to do with what I'm saying, but I'm serious. Because Will Ferrell even is not as talented as I am. Will Ferrell is great, and he's wonderful, and I can understand why people love him. But Chris Farley was better than Will Ferrell for a reason. I am the culmination of Chris Farley's energy and don't give a shit nature. Like, I'll do anything for the sake of the show, anything at all, as long as it works for the audience, as long as it gets the laughs. I will literally be that guy with the natural, but more than natural, the intellectual, intelligent, directorial type, but just everything in general that Phil Hartman had. So when I say that, it's like, look, Phil Hartman was the glue that held the team together because you can read it on record. Phil Hartman brought the best out of the people. Certain performers would be finally getting a sketch on live TV and nervous as shit, and Phil would be the one that would come up to him right before they performed and get them to laugh. And then he'd be like, look, and get them to relax real quick. And then he would give them what I do too, which is a true compliment, not a lie, not pumping them up. No, a legitimate, honest to God truth. I would say something like this, like, look, you might stumble and fall, but it's your first sketch on live TV, and ultimately, you're still the only person I know that gets cookies for fucking yada yada yada, or that does. I'll give them an honest to God compliment and help them understand. And meanwhile, when the actual performance sketch was going off, I'd make a point to amplify them. I care more about making them all look good. But at the same time, much like Farley, I am and Will Ferrell and so many before, even Belushi, I am too much of a presence to not be known because it's just what it is. I'm a fucking natural and I'm beyond a natural. But anyways, to rope back to what I'm saying, more of the comedy gossip tea or whatever, it's like Nathan was literally saying things like you're a rapist. He said shit like nobody wants you here. Okay? He was doing what they do, where they more than anything, they're attempting to bait a reaction out of you. They're attempting to get from you. And I just kept repeating back to him, even though it was very difficult and even though it wasn't a lie, but it was also not a full truth to me. But it was something that I truly wish to have 24/7 in my life, the ability to actually really understand it this way. But I just kept repeating back, I'm hearing what you're saying. I can tell you're upset. I love you. And the main one I'm getting at is saying I love you because I do not like people like that, especially drunks. If you're a drunk that just unloads on people like and has this arrogance about you at the same time, but then when you're sober, you're not capable of being that same person. Matter of fact, you're literally the opposite, where you're fucking treating people like friends, which is why I don't like the guy and why I'm pissed. Like, not pissed, but like ultimately why I'm the way I am is because, as far as I'm personally concerned, as it applies to Nathan Lowe specifically, we are not, nor have we ever been friends. Period. Like, there's nothing he's ever done. Nothing at all. Literally, he's the falsest person in so many ways. Like, I'm sorry, but when you come up to me because I'm the one that and you're observing because you're that type of motherfucker, and you see this girl as an object of your desire because you know that if this girl is with you or this girl likes you or this girl treats you a certain way, that all the other fucking inferior people around you will look up to you like a god status type shit. That's the type of shitbag he is. He's the type of person that uses others to get himself looking better. He's the type of fucking person that you're supposed to feel sympathy for. But I just am not there anymore. I'm just like, look, no, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to call you out with fucking appropriateness and calm nature, or I'm going to reply to your drunken rants with I love yous, even if it's difficult for me to truly feel it. I love everyone in the sense that you're supposed to feel that. Like, if you feel negativity, you got to switch it around, and even if you have to trick yourself. But more importantly, he come up and ruin the energy. All right? We're having an actual discussion, her and I, this beautiful girl in the hypothetical, but it's actually happened multiple occasions. Like, sometimes some of my more favorite memories are he come up and attempt to do it. I maintain calm. The girl and I make legitimate eye contact, and always every time in my head I go like, I wonder if this is what it'd be like for those girlfriends. Like, they talk about it, or like the whole like there's a specific pattern and cadence that girls have within their own communal patterns that's like literally like you know it without saying it, and it's like a help me vibe to where like the girls, even if they don't know each other, would know the vibe and know the energy to like come over and be like, hey, your boyfriend, even if they don't even know the girl's got a boyfriend, it's to help her remove herself from said circumstance. That's the type of shit this guy Nathan was coming up in this situation I'm talking about specifically to get a free drink because he deems himself worthy of free drinks 24/7. Fuck. What did I do? Damn, dude. I don't know what I did. I tapped the table. Whatever. The point is, this is almost 2 hours anyway, and but I'm getting closer. So anyway, he only comes up. He's not my friend, but he'll come up. There we go. I fixed it. He'll come up and he'll legitimately say the words will come out of his mouth, friend. He will literally do the textbook maneuvers that I used to basically attempt to explain to people that there's better ways to be, because I used to be in a community and I used to be a prominent member of a society. But the point is, ultimately, it's the most dangerous, and it's all about manipulating women and seeing women as objects. And it's a terrible mindset to be in, whether or not it's based in a lot of truth. The mentality and the mindset of seeing women as a dumb bitch or inferior human being or object of like your aggressions of the way you feel about the things that happened in the past, a lot of which are your own personal issues, a lot of which are because you watched fucking I don't know, anything from The Hills to Saved by the Bell to Friends, where you just like don't even consider the amount of programming and never rationalize that it's a TV program based on a lot of traditional stereotypical roles and a lot of fucking cheesy ass writing, and ultimately you are you going to a place being you. You're not Zach or Chandler or Monica or whatever, like you associate with these characters, therefore you like the show, etc., and so on and so forth, but very rarely are you ever going to live their life because A, it's not a real life, and B, because there's no way. It's literally in most cases impossible. Okay? The point is that truth and reality is the only way you're ever going to find what you like. Yeah, dude. Got a number count. I never brag about it. But these people would worship me. I could tell the difference. No. Okay? The point is, this motherfucker's the type that will come up and literally, because girls are, unfortunately, unless they're unaware, he will come up and literally steal your value and place it upon himself with the falseness of calling you there. Because look, this girl and you are having, like in my case, we are having not only a conversation, we're having a real discussion, which she's not used to because most guys are always attempting to hit on her. And in my head, in general, no matter how attracted I may or may not be to a girl, one of the few things that repeats in my head over and over is that they're also a human being, but more importantly, like reminding myself that you've had enough times with enough amazing, gorgeous, beautiful girls and enough like other types of girls, and just in general, that like period, it's like, look, if I'm in a fucking sex mindset, that's one thing. But when I'm at stand-up scene, it's more of a like, I want to get to know you. But not like I'm trying to get to know you so I can marry you and have kids with you type of. It's more like I want to get inside of the head of a person, especially if it's a beautiful girl at a show or at a mic that isn't a comic, but also female comics. But mostly I'm talking about also just like I want to understand her because I want to better understand these perspectives and mindsets, because either A, I haven't gone up yet that night, so I want to kind of work on my material toward them because they're an actual audience member, or B, I want to actually like kind of get the note so then I can better accumulate and like work with what I have to become a better comedian. You see, none of that affiliates with sex, none of that affiliates with their breasts, none of that even considers how gorgeous they are in general. So I'm talking to them on a level of like A, person to person, no games attached, not using these things to pretend, like not saying things like, you remind me of my little sister. No, but if a girl actually did, I might say like, you are pissing me off right now. Then why I'm pissing you off? It's like, because you are so much like Lucy. Who's Lucy? Yeah. It's like, it's just my little sister. I love her to death, But I'm not saying that to create some type of blah, 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 blah. Because more than anything, I'm a natural. The point is, these motherfuckers like him will come up and they will pretend, 100% pretend, so that they can steal clout from you, basically. And it doesn't just apply to beautiful girls. Like, I cannot amplify enough. It pisses me to fuck off because they come on. They don't add anything to our conversation. They don't take the time to listen to what we're conversing about and then add on to the conversation. They don't show up to like realize like, hey man, maybe I should just let these two people have this conversation and be privileged to even be privy to listen because they're not kicking me away being like, hey, this is private. But instead, most of these motherfuckers are coming up and macking on the girl or attempting to, and shittily at that. Most of these dudes have sour ass fucking game. Like, dude, it's just I don't even want to. I'll get a whole other topic for a whole other time. But the point is, well, there's so many points. But this guy was yelling at me, calling me a rapist, telling me nobody wants me, all this stuff. And I looked around. I saw Nesh. I saw the comic that I came there with. I saw this other dude. All three of them. And then I remembered the other comics I had seen before then. And I remembered being on the inside, getting handshakes and stuff. And it clicked. I'm like, into my head, 100% of all. I just was like, okay. This person is full of shit. And also in my head, I'm always like, Adam and Tommy never told me this shit. So anyways, he's yelling and he's getting so, like, he went inside, comes back out to continue yelling at me. I keep replying the same way, like, even this a little bit, like trying to do the namaste with a little gap in the middle type, because it's a new thing, but it's not. It's the same thing. Most people think it's like prayer hands, but it's actually one a little gap. It's like an energy thing. Point is, that's what I'm talking about. Okay, comes back out again. Then Tommy comes out. Tommy looks at me, not this motherfucker. Comes and looks at me, not Nathan. Tommy immediately looks at me and says, like, yo, what the fuck, dude? What the fuck are you, like, what the fuck, man? Why are you starting shit? What the hell, man? What's going on? Like that. And this is the thing, so beautiful, but also so real, but also what I'm trying to attempt to explain to people, especially because Nathan had drank so much that he couldn't maintain his mask, let alone keep his lies alive. There was no way he could logically get away from what had happened, where he had spent over 10 minutes yelling at me, and not just yelling at me, like sending the most negative, angry, and also mostly bullshit stuff. And I looked at Pete, I looked at the other comic, and I looked at that third comic, and I literally was like this. I was like, is a single one of you gonna actually stand up and for me, like, to tell Tommy, like, I didn't do anything? Because he doesn't believe me. Even though I didn't do anything, and I told Tommy, I'm like, and all three of these comics had witnessed it. Like, I literally was there just chilling, talking and stuff, and then Nathan literally started fucking going at it on me. Like, nonstop. Alcohol's not a defender. Alcohol opened him up. That's it. Alcohol inhibited his ability to hide it. See, normally fuckers like him, they are thinking a lot of very fucking sad, just terrible, just ugh. I would never want to be like them. Ugh. But then you catch me being like any of those motherfuckers, shoot me, please, or punch me a few times, or just do anything just like pull me out of that. Because that is not who I am. It's not where I belong. And every time I've ever had a lot of friends, a lot of family, a lot of success, everything came from originality, honesty, purity, and kindness. But the point is, finally, the third comic, who I wish I could remember his name, actually had the courage, even though it did. Dude, all three of them witnessed it, and then some other people even. Not a single motherfucking pussy-ass bitch, as far as I'm concerned. Like, hey, man, this comic would actually probably kill me. I mean, the desert type thing. But Nesh and me, we could duke it out, whatever. He's take his boxing shit. But ultimately, right, most of them just proved to me, like, y'all are cool, I'm chill with you, but y'all ain't my fucking allies. Like, when I was in Phoenix especially, I had what's called ride or die. I had a real fucking crew. We weren't a gang unless technically the cops wanted to fuck with us, because anytime you have more than 3 people in a group, it's considered a gang. Look that shit up. Man, there's so many ways they created so many ways to fuck with black people. Asians too, technically, and natives and all that shit, but mostly to fuck with people other than the stereotypical traditional white folk. Anyways, the point is, finally, that comic told Tommy, literally is like, he didn't do anything. And even that comic was kind of nervous, but I was like, come on, Peter, fucking you. I'm not going to say his name, like I said. And then you, like, is anybody going to fucking, like, I was literally, like, shocked to some extent And they were like, it's like, look, I get that you're shocked and astounded at the fact that Nathan Lowe, a guy you're traditionally used to having this mask on where he presents himself the way that he is not, but then in all reality, look, man, what the fuck? You just literally witnessed this shit, and ain't a single one of you gonna step up and be like, yo, no, actually, this is literally, he's not lying. He literally has only been saying, I love you, I hear you, I can tell you're upset right now. That is all he said. Those 3 fucking things is all I fucking said. That's literally, I didn't give Nathan nothing to work with. I didn't give him nothing to work against. I didn't give him shit because I knew and also knew. Like, I really knew because of how sober I was, especially, but I really knew I got you, motherfucker. You're finally showing people who you really fucking are, and at the same time, you're out of control, and at the same time, I'm 100% in control, but I'm not going to manipulate the situation. I'm not going to change the situation, but I am going to recognize and learn and rationalize and realize all this greatness. And so, like, long and short, though, I was a little bit hurt, but also like, it's what it is, man. It's what it is that Pete and then the other comic didn't stand up for me. And then I was honestly surprised and now have a forever amount of respect in a way that I should learn the dude's name for the comic that actually did stand up for me. And I did say thank you. Like, but it was more like, thank you. At least one of you will tell the truth. Because Tommy thought I started shit. Tommy thought I was literally causing problems because of the fact that up until then, especially Nathan, had the privilege and the power to manipulate everyone around him. And literally, that's all he did was manipulate everyone around him. Literally. Like, I'm sorry, but the reality is, the reason I'm not a rapist is because it's beneath me. Like, if anything, it's so beneath me. Like, if I need sex so badly that I'm contemplating forcing it on someone, nah. And if I feel so inferior about myself that the only way to get off is to force myself on, nah. Those are such lesser fucking things. I'm the first person to see a girl drunk off her ass and offer to get her a Lyft or an Uber home on my thing so I can monitor the rides that they get home safely and it doesn't suddenly stop in the middle of nowhere. But more importantly, wait when the car pulls up, tell the driver, I am not a person you want to fuck with. I can find where you live, I have your name, get her home safe, do not fucking pass go, do not get $200, make sure she gets to those doorsteps and she's good. And if anything happens, you're the first person. I will murder your dog, I will murder your family, I will murder everyone, and I will make sure that you see all the footage of it, and then meanwhile, I will also break your kneecaps, I will cut you open, and I will make sure it's just enough so that you bleed, but you don't bleed out entirely, and then I will make sure that you end up in some foreign place in fucking outside of Tucson, aka Tucson, Arizona, in the middle of the fucking desert, and also you will not have water, which is the generosity that we normally would provide to others. Now, whether or not any of this is true doesn't matter, folks. What matters is the amount of threatening involved to make sure if they are a shitbag, if they are a terrible motherfucker, that they will think twice before they take this poor drunken girl anywhere other than home. Safely. Alright? I am the first fucking person to see a girl that is way too fucking gone and see a guy that is not gone enough to justify what he is obviously up to. I'm the first motherfucker, no matter how it makes me look, to have this girl get upset and fucking beating on me and whatever. But then knowing full well what I'm really doing is saving her goddamn fucking whatever, let's just say virginity. But in general, alright? Especially more than ever now that I'm mostly sober. But it's just what it is. I'm sick and tired. I finally got fed up with the world. And now I'm in a world where it's like, look, man, do everything you can. Do what you do. Don't back down. And understand that you have nothing but good intentions. Like, most of the time, yeah, it's true. Maybe she's a super hot chick. And yeah, maybe it's true. Like, hey, I could totally hit a fantasy where I'm believing that she's the one forever. She's the one that's going to make me the man that I want to be, etc., and so on and so forth. But in all reality, in that moment especially, it's like, no. What you need to understand is like, look, this is what it is. And because you know if you don't do otherwise, then you're a piece of shit. You're just as bad as that piece of shit. You're the reason the world sucks. So, yeah, motherfucker unloads. Finally, someone stood up for me, and then Tommy looks at me. He goes, "All right, man," like, because someone else stood up, because he didn't listen, he didn't care, he doing nothing. It didn't matter what I said in that moment, because, as I said way earlier, the reason I don't fucks with it's not that I'm afraid of it. It's, I just literally, as long as I'm a good audience member, not a heckler, as Tom likes to heckle me about, as long as I'm like kind or silent on the outside of the thing, as long as like I'm literally mostly a positive presence and a presence, and I'm not starting shit or trying to make shit, let alone anything else, he doesn't care that I'm at his venue. And the same thing applies to Adam. More importantly, Adam is like, he don't want no controversy, but also like I really have grown to appreciate Adam in a lot of ways. But also Adam values me. He really does. Like, not for any other than just like respect to respect. Also, we are both very beautiful men. Like, no doubt. Like, no homo, as the kids say still, or maybe they're adults now. People in their 30s, huh? God. No homo used to be said by the 12-year-olds. Now it's being said by the 23-year-olds, right? Anyway, I wish I had more vodka, but I do, but I don't want to use it. You know what I'm saying? So, what else can I say? Like, basically, once that third comic actually stood up, it's like, no, he literally has not done shit. Then Tom like recognized, because he wasn't totally far gone, the situation as it really, like, it's as easy as that when someone has the courage to actually tell the truth. You see, if none of those comics had stood up, there was a strong chance that even though I did nothing wrong, Lowe would have won in that circumstance because nobody stood up. The fact that this one comic took it and did actually do what was right, then because of this person saying the truth, then Tom was able to click real quickly, because he obviously already knew. And dude, you could, as the go and as the reality and what it is, you could smell it on the motherfucker's breath. Motherfucker had a drink in the motherfucking hand, light on the ice, heavy on the liquor. There's a reason, especially at that time and still now, that I don't get too loaded, especially in the comedy world. I look at it like not just a business. I look at it like in any moment you could be finished. All it takes is, no matter the circumstance, no matter the situation, no matter how real, it's as easy as, and you're done. There's no coming back. I mean, don't get me wrong. I miss getting super loaded. I think I'm a fucking hoot. But the other reason, actually, that I stopped drinking as heavy is because for some reason, whatever it is, I'm one of those ones that loses shit. And what's funny is my blood mom, she literally, like, she fell off the wagon again, got drunk, and lost her wallet and some other shit. And I was like, okay. Genetics, right? Anyways, yeah, so basically Tom said to me, he's like, all right, I can tell that you didn't do nothing. Like, I really can. And I think that was one of the first times that he started coming around to me. But he literally, like, because I told him, I'm like, no, I'm just here to fucking appreciate the comedy. I want to go in with Pete. I'm not causing any, like, I'm really not. I'm here, like, to be here. I really am, and that's the truth. Like, that always is the actual fucking truth, really. But the point is, Tom's like, all right, just get back in there, enjoy the fuck comedy, and just stay away from Nathan. And Nathan was right next to him, but at that point, it clicked. And he's like, Nathan's not gonna remember tomorrow. And like, my thing is this: I have a hard time forgetting, especially when I'm sober. But ultimately, I don't care if you're drunk or straight. There's no defense about it. When you're a person like Nathan Lowe, especially, he was being himself beyond himself. And that is like, for me at the very least, it was the first. Okay. It was the second time of experiencing the real Nathan, but more importantly, it was actually the one that anchored in deep enough to where now, like, literally, I can go to that venue and respect Tom's wishes as easy as just literally just being there, but taking a page from the book of Ty Rivera and literally not associate, like, the bare minimums of association. Mainly because I'm not going to give an opening to a person that doesn't have any good, like, there are certain people that don't have any good intentions behind those eyes, but so many perspectives, narratives, opinions, and the more they envy you, the more they admire you, the more they have these feelings of inferiority towards you, the stronger the malice is and the stronger the design is behind what's most likely gonna occur to you if you, like, if it just fucking, look, it sucks, but it's the reality that these, most of us and most of these people are so fucking naive and stupid and, like, just eager and, like, all the worst shit. Like, literally, it's just so fucking terrible how easy, like, I can, like, look, I would never do this. Mostly because it makes me feel like I'm gonna vomit inside. But I also, because I'm a good, I hate that term. Mostly because I'm a decent human being. Like, just bare minimums of decent human beingism, you know? I'm not gonna make shit up, but if I wanted to, I could literally make I tried to tell Kenny this. There are fucking people saying you took a shit on stage, bro. That's not okay. And he laughs like, but he's not really. And he's like, I'm saying but he knows he didn't do that. He knows he wouldn't do that. He's not fucking taking the Gigi Allen route of comedy. Doesn't exist. Never knew a comic that threw shit on their audience. Never knew a comic that rolled around in glass. Never knew a comic that did the things like DJ did. I know some punk rock comedians. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me right, neither. Anyway, the main thing I was getting at is, like, that point forward, like, if it's not just him neither, but, like, it's interesting to me that people, like, okay, look, man, if you come up to me and you are, like, doing the pound thing and I'm conscious, I'm not going to give you a pound unless you're a person that I want to share my energy with, or even touch, like, anything. And it's interesting because, like, now by default I get this presence a little bit of being, like, either, like, cool or, like, oh, what's up with him? He's kind of a dick, but, like, he didn't, like, punch the dude, but he also said, like, nah, I'm not gonna fucking do that pound thing. And, like, it's just interesting. Like, the more you become yourself, at the same time you become something else, but at the same time it's still the same thing you always were. So anyways, like, that's that. Like, the other thing I can get to another time. I really should, like, write this stuff out, and this has been 2 hours minus 4 minutes, but even then, like, yeah, it's been long enough, especially without co-host. I appreciate everyone. Thank you. Make sure you click the thumb button. Um, Realistically though, click the subscribe button. And then more importantly, click the bell button, because I still haven't figured out how to link it right so that the website has the live scroll. I will figure this stuff out at some point. It's on the list. There's stuff I probably should have talked about, but I didn't. So don't worry. I'll probably get back around to it. I'll probably watch this or listen to this, and then I'll remember to find the things, and then I'll do a post type thing. Actually, you know what? Fuck it. Like, matter of fact, here, I'm gonna eat a little real quick. All right. Here's the deal. I've been getting a little distracted because I can hear my previous episode. I talked about this. I can hear people outside, so I'm self-conscious about how loud I am and stuff. But also it's been 2 hours, so you know. But I did, because how I am. I actually do remember now. Like, I legitimately remember now. And it was pretty cool, and it is kind of tea related. Okay, so let's start with the first thing. Comedy review this week. All right, once again, I don't really have enough money to be doing stand-up, like, every single night of the week. That being said, I chose to spend $20 to go to an event on last Saturday, so a not this past Saturday, the Saturday before yesterday. And I was so I had a great, amazing time. It basically, what's amazing is I was like, this place looks familiar. It used to be a comedy venue, bros, and then now it's a tattoo parlor, which is badass. But on top of the tattoo parlor, it's also a venue. So now it's got the venue stuff. And so, anyways, I showed up to support my buddy's band, like the whole band, like just in general. Okay, look, we're not currently at a status where I'm like, we're like this, but I immediately hit it off with them on top of having previously hit it off with them. When I first met them was 2 years ago. When I had first moved here, they were one of the first people. But then the point is this: now I didn't just show up. They were like, we're gonna go on after midnight. They didn't go on until like 3:15 in the morning. Mind you, I literally drank just club soda, water, or club soda and water the whole night because I was like, I'm gonna maintain my. So I also didn't have any weed in my system. I legitimately just had myself the only thing technically, not technically, this is, but even that I withheld from so often. I wasn't just chain smoking even that. I'm telling you, if I was in my sponsor, like that type of shit, like legitimately, I had the energy that entire night, all the way until they were going up, and like people had left, and it was what it was. But I saved all my energy also, and then my mom, dude, Electric Preacher's the name of the group. You definitely gotta look them up. Electric Preacher is gonna be way bigger than big. Should I get to SNL before they're huge and huge? I'm gonna make sure they're on the list. Obviously, Rakim's at the top, and underneath Rakim is Nas. And then I gotta find out, because I'm pretty sure maybe certain members of Wu-Tang, like Red, have been on SNL, but I want to make sure, like, all the remnants of Wu-Tang get on that bitch. And then after those three, okay, well, technically, okay, maybe, I think Mos Def has been on, but I don't know about Khalib. But then at the same time, Young Baka just informed me that Khalib's kind of a dick. Or no, he was talking about Mos Def, actually, so it's all good. Well, anyway, long and short, I gotta be careful about that in that way, but I've met Rakim several times. Rakim knows who I am. Rakim literally signed my shirt to the future player. Rakim literally told me, I see you, keep the grind alive, do what you do. And look, if you don't know who the God Rakim is, you don't know shit. Because I'm telling you, when the God Rakim recognizes and appreciates and values you on a level almost to equality, there's no doubt. No doubt. I know what I'm up to. But anyways, on that list underneath that, Electric Preacher, I would not only want to see them on. And then there's Vicky Grace, but he's got to get a full band. I'm not going to, I mean, you can't just have him as a bassist on that fucking bitch. Like, technically you could, but more like Lauren is going to be hard enough to get through, especially if I'm even, dude, I don't even know. If I don't get on before season 50, I might not, man. What the fuck's the point if Lauren's not the fucking head of it? I don't really want to, like, if it's future boss Colin Jost, I'm not going to want it anymore. I'm going to be like, no, you know what? Fuck it. Not my timeline. I wish I was in the one that worked. Maybe that's what that primitive dream was. It was a piece of fucking that reality, and unfortunately, I'm here. And then we'll see what the fuck happens from there. I mean, shit. I used to tell people, you'll know when I snap because of how Dick Cheney died, but then he died on his own, and I'm like, fuck. Motherfucker was supposed to stay alive forever until I snapped, you know? The point is, I went out that Saturday, okay? So that's starting the week in review. And I was, dude, and then I slammed, and then we were all chilling even well into that. It was like almost 6 a.m. We were out there in the park, and this is great. I need to add this to like comedy routine. This is just hilarious to me. We're all of age, mind you. Like literally, like I don't look it, but I'm one of the older ones, you know? But it doesn't matter. The point is hilarious. Is like this tweaker bitch sees us doing our own thing because they had needed the keys to the car, but they thought they might have been inside the fucking thing, so they climbed up and went around to put a note card on the door to let the dude know, like, hey, when you get here in the morning, check to see if the keys are there. If the keys are there, please go immediately to the car and move it into a safe parking spot so that it doesn't get towed, and then we'll be back to check in on that or let us know. Because they didn't know where the keys were the car. It was all good. It's all good. tweaker bitch sees this shit and like literally is on the fucking phone with the fucking cops. With the fucking tweaker bitch. A bitch at 6 a.m. on shit. We got fucking minors drinking in public. And I'm just thinking, like, what the fuck? Anyway, they all got out safe. They got the note card. I don't know what happened, so it would have been cool to go out last night and seen, but, you know, sometimes you be like that, unfortunately. Also, like, in full reality, I wish this wasn't the case, but I can't justify spending $20 when I'm not drinking. And I know they were like, you should drink more, but I just, hey, especially when it's a place that I respect, but also run by people that don't know me well enough to know me well enough. I'm the type of person that the more drunk I am, no matter the intent behind everything, I'm going to end up in a fucking cell. And it's happened. I literally had it happen the last time I went let loose. I didn't do nothing wrong. I know for a fact I didn't do nothing wrong. But I know I did enough to where the police in Arizona, which are already corrupt as shit, took full advantage of my lucidity and or incoherentness of sort. Like, these motherfuckers tricked me so hard. I let them let me leave my bag at the bar and escort me out to have a talk. These fuckers, like, I let them take me down right next to their fucking troll car. That's how fucking stupid I was. Point is, I ended up booked, and I'm not going to say how long, but the point is, way too long. They didn't even have it. They never took my fucking prints or my fucking picture to the point when I finally got a hold of, and God knows, you know what happened? Okay, fucking shit. My little fucking sister, Google search or whatever, found my fucking record thing that had just happened type of shit because I didn't turn up and my dad was concerned and like fucking all this shit. But then they, you know, and then that's when they were like, okay, and then they were able to actually post bail and get me out. This was right before I was going to New York. This is 2019. I was at this fucking bar that I helped build up, motherfuckers. I was there from the start. I was there before. I was there when it was literally a fucking mound of grass where fucking homeless people did tweak, fucked in public, didn't give a fuck. That's the fucking downtown Phoenix I remember the best. Not this fucking ritzy parlor, fucking environmental fucking convention bullshit. Not this fucking fancy rinky-dinky-dinky-dinky-da. No. But I do remember when I saw that shit popping up. I do remember when that club popped up. I do remember all that shit. I remember so well. But I look different. They don't know it's me, and I'm not the first to literally name drop Brad and fucking all the other people. I'm not gonna name drop the girl that is. I'm not. But this new manager piece of shit fucking called the police on me to fucking get me out of there for no fucking reason. The one thing I did technically was to the person next to me. But when look, no matter how lucid or how much I drink and everything, I'm super friendly. But I'm also super fucking aware, believe it or not, because I'm well trained, damn it. Like, I'm a well trained fucking dog. I'm just looking for the girl that wants to own me. I mean, I may be better at dominance, don't get me wrong. I'll dominate the shit out of a bitch. Oh man, I will make her moan, but at the same time, I'm like a guide dog to a blind chick. I'm like a fucking, I don't know how to put this other than like, I'm not necessarily down with that type of role play. Matter of fact, I've never been interested much into that type of role play. But I mean it in the sense of like, she points me in the right directions and I do it, and I don't just do it. And if I ever hear an ill word, and I do this for my friends, I do this for girls that I care about that I'm not fucking, like, that have boyfriends that are trash, but I'm just like, whatever, I don't give a fuck. And they hate me because they always presume that I'm trying to get with her, but then at the same time, I'm like, nah, dude, you don't get it. Like, if I really wanted to get with her, then I would literally get you out of the picture, like, 100%. Like, I'm not even kidding. I would literally get you out of the picture. I'm not even kidding. Like, I would literally remove you. he might be joking. He might be kidding. Who gives a fuck? The point is this. New management fucking got my ass in trouble with the cops. I call them up because in Arizona State, you might not know this, but if you're like at a place, like at a bar, and they are like, "Hey, we don't want to serve you anymore," and you're like, "Oh, fuck you, I'm gonna stay." Like, what the fuck is your problem? I didn't do nothing wrong, right? Doesn't matter if you did anything wrong, mind you. That's all it takes. On the second time, they can call the police, get you arrested for trespassing. And in Arizona, that's not just trespassing. That's like a criminal fucking on top of it. It's like a thievery type situation. So long and short, my little sister found that, dug the shit I got out, but like I'm just a sucker in a lot of ways. So I'm not gonna get loaded at a venue. So I really can't justify it, even though I want to support and like I respect it and all that other stuff. It's also a tattoo parlor, and I know how much decent amounts of money for the most part they get, similar to a strip club environment. Like, if anyone's not unfamiliar with me, legitimately, my birthday might have been like 2 years ago. I legitimately was griping and put it on the fucking thing. I'm like, even on my own birthday, they won't fucking remove the cover. Like, it's bullshit. Like, traditionally on your birthday, every strip club lets you in for free because of two reasons. Number one, especially if you're alone, you're gonna be spending a shit ton of money because most likely you're fucking lonely. Most likely you're a fucking loser. Most likely you got a shit ton of excess money from your birthday cards alone. And number two, it's your fucking birthday. Birthday in America, at least, is supposed to mean Perk City. Like, not Percocet City, perks. Like, PERK. Like, in the sense of, like, who here never goes to Denny's except on their birthday? Most likely, because I'm not the guy I used to be. But we used to, let's just say, first hit a weed from a woman's mouth. Because she was a woman. I was a child. Doesn't fucking matter. It was a great time and a forever memory, but she gave me what's called a shotgun in a parking lot right outside the Denny's. Literally right out of the. I'll never forget it. Not to mention how I got there, where I went after, all that great shit. I don't know. I had a great childhood. What can I say? It was before, and after. So, anyway, yeah. So anyway, I don't know if I guess I'm gonna go back to everything I was talking about before, trying to rope it around what I was talking about at the beginning of the episode, and finish with the question of the week. And if you comment on the question of the week, you will get a free dollar. I guarantee you. Not these bots, Oswald Marchand and Jesus Kendall. You're not getting a free dollar for putting literally scam porno website links with a space between the period because you think you're smart. You're most likely just a bot algorithm. Anyway, that's how I'm gonna do it. Right, 2 hours 22. I love 222. That's a good one. For those who don't know though, my main one is 444. Anytime and every time. And if you want to learn to trick me and you want to do like a manipulative science thing and you want to see if you can get one up on me, etc., 444 would be one of the main ways to come through because it has such a deep value to me that I can't override at this point. But I could, and I will in the future. But anyways, now in the present, but then again, it is the future when you're watching. That's how it works. You're the future's audience unless you comment live. So, yeah. So I was in a roast, and there's no comedy tea to spill. The only thing I can really reveal, dude, I gotta check just cause. Okay, cool. I was getting messages, but oh man. Either way, I figured I'd check real quick. So okay, some not one thing is another. So I'm gonna get through. I'm gonna make sure because I'm doing my best to relocate money because you know what? Reality aside, I'll talk about it in another thing. But LA isn't more expensive per se than Seattle. However, I actually have to pay rent here because unlike Seattle, where I own the condo, here I don't own the condo. Okay, it's what it is, but I joked, but I'm serious. I came to LA to either succeed in my comedy pursuit, specifically SNL especially, or to find love, which is all anyone's ever really looking for. Like, and I'm not even kidding. I'm literally open to the idea and inviting, and I work with manifestations for two things. One is to bring whatever's necessary and to pursue whatever's necessary that Saturday Night Live would discover and realize that I'm what's been missing for the last decade minimum. And that's no discredit to who's on the show and who gets on the show. But I guarantee you, I'm better than most of the people that are currently on the show. And it, to some extent, I'm not even fucking kidding. Even Keenan Thompson would benefit from my writing capabilities. And I'm not even kidding because I'm so special. I'm so unique and I was designed for this. But either way, the other thing is love. All right. And I'm not kidding around because I literally, the condo that we, like, it's in a beautiful location, minimal crime enough, right near one of the major malls for the general extended area. So it means you access to that. 20 minutes away from downtown Seattle, 15 minutes away from the airport. So you can literally travel and come back to where we live. Has a decent backyard, which can expand and be better. A huge, massive ravine, so therefore they can't build on it. So that means you got a lot of free extra room where nature lives and thrives in all the beautiful ways. Blackberry shrubs, which grow in the summertime, though I cut them down, but oh, God knows, without me, they probably have over. Oh, either way, fresh blackberries at least once or twice a year. It's a selling point, I say. But on top of that, like, the area is just everything about it, okay? Also, the fact that you could travel and still be with, like, but I could not stay there because living there alone was making me so sad. Like, it's already hard enough for me to cook, like, bomb amazing food and have nobody to share it with. But especially someone that I can have true relations with. And when I say true relations, it's because I'm not gay. Nothing against the homosexual community, but I've got jokes about it. I've done enough gay shit to know I'm not gay. And you know, people get the joke or don't get the joke. And then other people get the wrong idea. Like, don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm still somewhat fluid in some ways to some extent under certain things, but I don't do those certain things anymore. So unless you're gonna trick me and like slip some Molly up in my but even then you better make sure you know how to handle me on Molly, because otherwise I'm gonna be some other place, you know. But anyways, I'm not kidding. If I found love first, I would take it in a heartbeat. There's no doubt in my mind. I would do anything and everything. But either way, I'm still in LA, so it's getting costly. So I cut back. The way I cut back with the Zoom. So I talked about that earlier on. So basically, I'm gonna send Jake, aka Juggalo Jake, aka my, I'd say, third or fourth favorite comic in all of Seattle, which is a huge deal. But also in general, he's coming up on it. But number one slot's gonna be for Casey, always and forever. Number three slot, give or take, is Robbie Schrodinger. Even though Casey don't like him, I still don't mind him. I tolerate him, whatever. And then plus or minus though is Andy Harder because he's up on the rise. And then obviously me. No, I'm just kidding around, but you know what I'm saying. I do value Casey as a comedian higher than myself, but I aspire to be as great as Jeff Dye. If not greater, most likely greater though. Matter of fact, Jeff Dye and I have almost too similar of a lot of things, but the stuff that he does is stuff that I decided not to do. And I'm not saying that it's not good or bad. I'm saying it's like, look, man, like, I get why girls like it. I get why your other audience people in general like it. I get why people like Nathan Lowe are after your fucking clout. But to me personally, having been raised not just in a Christian society, but being raised by a minister, actually, like literally my adoptive father being an actual literal minister, I am literally by adoption the son of a preacher. His, like, some of his material current that's kind of popular is him talking about asking too many questions. Look, motherfucker, I'm so look. It's what it is. It's what it is. I'm not gonna get on a tangent. I just aspire to be equal to and better than some point Jeff Dye, because to me, he's the greatest Seattle comic. He's beyond an echelon. He's God status in the sense of what Seattle comedy has to offer. Similar to how people might put Kurt Cobain in a certain category, but then you really got to put Chris Cornell there, and then you really got to think about it, and then you got Eddie Vedder, and then when you really, really, really gonna get niche market about it, then all of a sudden Mudhoney shows up, all of a sudden Harvey Danger shows up, and then all of a sudden you got, oh, whoa, this is way too hip for the modern generation. Let's dial it back. No, I'm just playing. I love it, especially Frances Bean. I'm grateful. She's with, like, don't get me wrong. I would love to be with Frances Bean. I really would. I would be an amazing addition to her life. But at the same time, Tony Hawk's son ain't the worst motherfucker. He's controversy clean. He can skate really way better than I can, that's for sure. I'm just look, Seattle and skating culture definitely have like this too. All I care about is that Bean goes out there and sings and puts out more music than she has currently because she has a lot of passion about things that are very important to me, at least. And I feel like a lot of people. And that's like suicidal tendencies, that's sadness from things that come from a place that you just have to accept and cannot control, etc., and so on and so forth. So, yeah. So either way, if you aren't familiar, you can look it up, but it's called the Heckle Mic, but it's also a roast mic. It's put on by this great guy. His name is Ryan. He's got a local LA thing now off of Melrose every Thursday, I believe, and it's an open mic at the second half, but a show at the first half, roast centric. He's very rooted in with the roast scene. He's always attempting to get Jeff Ross to be one of his roast, judges. But he once a month at least he does this charity Zoom mic where it's comic versus comic roasting, approximately 7 jokes give or take, back and forth. And then you have judges, 3 judges and him, Ryan, typically, and at any moment they're allowed and encouraged to heckle you or the other opponent during your comedy because it's fun, it's interesting, and it's neat. But also it improves your skill set. Also it throws you off, but it doesn't throw you off. All sorts of fun stuff. So anyways, then after you go jokes to jokes, or in the case of this past week, I could have probably gone a little bit more, but I was hitting the territory where it's like, look, man, you're going to go racial and you can't go racial. Like, not racial, like comedy, like too racial. Like, unfortunate but fortunate, but reality aside, it's what it is and I'm fine with it. But the way I look and who I am, there are certain things, no matter how funny, without literally, like, not just the judges, but the other comics knowing me, like literally. Because Ralphie May is my favorite example current that a lot of people know Ralphie for the most part. David Tell's kind of another one, but you don't really hear David Tell doing too much. But the point is, Ralphie May could say anything about anyone and be accepted about it. So either way, I was one of the, but other males comics too submitted. So it was like ladies won hands down. And I'm not complaining because there's no winners technically, but ultimately we were one of the ones where all the judges were like, dude, we had a great time. So roasting is literally one of my weakest, probably my weakest skill set, mostly because I'm a genuinely kind person, but also because I don't have nearly a network, but also because just overall it's like a very specific thing. All that said, it's a great network to get you to the top. It's literally the thing that he doesn't get credit for, but he should be most famous for, that Kenny Lyon helped start at the Comedy Store back in the day. But either way, what I'm getting at is I did this roast and I impressed myself so much. I got on my stomach nervous, but I told Ryan, I was like, hey man, if you never find a comic opponent, I would gladly put myself in the line, even though I'm most likely going to lose, but I'm okay with that because I want to work on a skill set, etc. So anyways, the partner that I got and all that was great, but like what more important was, most of my material came from literally that show off the spot, which is something that, as much as I like to talk about her and whatever, as much as I feel a certain way about how she should be and how she is, at the end of the day, the beginning of the morning and the middle of the afternoon, Emily Hagen knows me like so well. But this is the problem with Sean, aka Stencil. This is the problem in general. Like, I don't care romantically how successful it would be. I don't care about how everything. All I know is it's very rare. Like it's less rare to meet a male, but it's very rare for me to meet a female that is like from the get go. Like it's literal universal magic beyond the universe. Like it's the type of stuff that if she would buy like go with me together, we would like there you would be hearing our names every like people wouldn't be able to get away from us because her and I together would be just because I get her and she gets me, and that's what I'm saying. So she is like, look, your roasts when they're rehearsed, all right, but you're really at your best, and I love you the most. Love, hey Stencil, back the fuck off. Hey Sean, back the fuck off. I know how territorial you fucking are. You might as well piss on your bitch, but I don't give a fuck. I'm not trying to fuck. That's the thing that bothers me, not about you, but about the other motherfuckers in her life that literally tell all these girls that I'm like, let the record show, damn it. I never said I wanted to fuck them. I never sexualized them. And it's by design because no matter how I may or may not, or what I may or may not, I'm a damn professional and I'm a damn observant. And I'm just like, I care more about creating comedy, creating content, doing all the shit that's going to get the attention of Lauren and the people and get me where I want to be, all that, than I ever do about a fling or even like anything. Like literally, because I've fucked a lot of girls. I don't really have any issues. Like I know what I'm good at, and one of the only things I'm good at. What can I say? Autism has its perks. So, anyways, most of my jokes literally were come up literally during leading up to us performing. Like leading up to even me going. I was like, oh god, I was about ready to just shit the bed, as they would say, but I didn't, and it's great like that. It's beautiful. What literally ended up happening was not only did my jokes do amazingly well, like surprisingly well, but also I delivered them, I think, better because it was like that. And yeah. So anyways, I did the roast and it went better than I would have ever expected, especially even leading up to telling them. But like, okay, here's the thing, okay? I was like thinking, okay? And then when I got to the point where, okay, it's my turn. And I actually you can if to share the recording in the future. Once he gets it out there, we can do it. But I stuttered. You're gonna noticeably, audibly, but maybe you wouldn't have noticed unless I said it. But I stuttered and almost tripped over the first joke because of the fact that I was so like that. But essentially, I was going off of what she looked like in the frame and everything, and I stumbled over it. But then I got there, but it was a beautiful example of the power of three. But also, I was so like I didn't split them apart. I did it like a layering, and it just goes to show that Tom really helped me in my previous time against his friend, of course. But either way, he didn't actually help me because he's like, I can't, especially because anything that I have that's very funny, I'm not going to give you because I want to go against her again someday because Erica and I are like this, but like, and I want to win again. I want to win this time. I want to win. And it's like beautiful because they care. They literally, all the stuff they did, they wouldn't chat. That's why he was helpful. But his main helpfulness to me was explaining to me that, like, first off, temporarily, that's the person that took your ice cream. That's the person that stole your slot on the slide. That's your enemy. Period. You gotta tear them apart for that amount of time, which helped with the resolve of like what to do. And then the other thing is like he was like, look, the shorter the better. And then Jeff Ross was the same way. Jeff Ross literally also says something similar about like, it's quick. And what's great is that even though I did the three, it was quick, quick, quick. The final one landed so hard, dude was just busting up. And he did a slight callback to the previous one because it was really funny busting him up. But then mine was that I was like, wait, okay. So I started with saying like, all right, I'm trying to remember what I said, but it was like, what was it? I forget the initial part, but it was like I'm going after her style and the way she looks on screen. I was like, oh yeah, okay, okay. So it was supposed to be that whole thing, like what they said with Britney: blink once if you're okay, blink twice if you're kidnapped. But I stumbled and stomped on it, so it was I couldn't remember if it's blink once, blink twice, or blink twice, blink once, or whatever. So I stumbled a little bit because I was like, all right, okay. Before I start with the jokes, I gotta really check in. Based on what I'm seeing right now, is like I gotta blink once if you're okay, blink twice if you're kidnapped. And so some people laughed, and even she was like, okay. But I was like, no, seriously though, like I gotta check in and see, like, did you style your fashion off of? And it'd be better if you could see it. But I was like, did you style your fashion off the American Girl doll nobody wants, or a kidnapped child poster? And that's what broke the dude. The dude was just busting up, and it's because like, so you start with the one about blink once, blink twice, which is like, but then like the American Doll no one wants is a great, like, it's a rip, and then she kind of had doll like look a little bit. So, and she did kind of look like, so it's good. But then the final one, being the missing child poster, is literally, it loops back in a way to the kidnapping, but also it's hella fucking fire because she totally had a similar, it was the lighting or whatever, it doesn't matter, it was just broke the dude so hard. But also it was like, and then from that point forward, we were actually going back and forth with like riffs one time at a, like my favorite one well, her favorite one that I also appreciated was one I didn't think would go over well at all. And it was, if she was a Pokemon, she would be Jigglypuff Puff Pass, which I'm probably gonna keep on reserve for other people like Zach Fetterman, for example. That said, though, what I really loved, and gotta give respect, even just shit on the guy, whatever. Pete Davidson, I do gotta say, man, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't realize how much of a punchline Staten Island was. And I did a whole thing based on that about, she said that she's from New York, you grew up in a blah, blah. Could have fooled me. I thought Staten Island, and it worked. And also, this was recorded live for like New York University, NYU. So, yeah, ultimately, it went very, very well. I'm actually incredibly happy with it in the long run. I made a new friend too. Like, her name's Priya, and she said she'd come through LA again. So I look forward to that. And she's married to a Russian and stuff like that. So like, and in general, like I don't care. Like, I don't know. I could spill the tea about some other stuff because I told her I'm not gonna joke about it, but I am curious about it. But all that aside, I got out of my comfort zone once again. So thank you, Heckle Mike. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Priya, for being my opponent. Um, and other than that, I haven't really, because of the money saving and all that stuff, I haven't really gone out too much to, what do you call it? Perform as much, but I do intend to. I'm gonna work toward that. Um, I'm gonna get right now. I'm gonna get to sending Jake his stuff. I'm gonna see if I can dig up Lisa Dank's stuff, send her stuff. But ultimately, I'm finally getting around to like getting all that stuff dug up and off of the Zoom thing, and then that'll like conclude, pretty much finalize and conclude that chapter of COVID for me, and that's fine. But it was great, but there was so much amazingness that I wish I had gotten recorded, but I didn't, like, especially my characters. But either way, that's that. What else can I say? I'm glad I went out to Electric Preacher, even though it was the 1 year anniversary for Accidental Chaos. There was way more Bettys at my place, man. Where I was at, there was way more Everything Wonderful. Like, don't discredit them in their 1 year show, but like, man, until AC starts putting me up on their shows, which, it's only a matter of time. The only person who's gonna be mad is Nathan, because the better I get and the more people love me, there's only two people I can think of that literally, like, okay, one of them it's more obvious than the other. That's Michael Silvers, but the other one, Nathan, they don't want to ever see me blooming and succeeding. Nathan's the one that kind of does because he doesn't care, but he knows, like, but he's an idiot to presume, if he does think this way about me, that when I get bigger, he can clout chase off of my tail and be like, da 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 da. I'd be like, nah, don't listen to that motherfucker at all. A, we never been friends, not even when I attempted to be a friend to him. B, I never, and may never find the guy funny, like truly, and that's fine, just not my thing. But as it applies to Silvers, I've never heard the motherfucker tell a joke. All I hear him do is shit on women mostly, and then gripe and complain and say that it's not. Look, I had my shit kicked in. I had abuse, all the stuff he talks about, and I get to an extent why he talks about it, but like I also understand, no doubt in my mind, it's not funny, especially when the way and what he says about women. Okay, look, I understand raunch comedy. I understand things. No, the reason it upsets me is because he's using women as his punchline because he's a shitty fucking comedian. And it's not funny. What he's saying is like, this bitch is stupid and she's a whore or whatever. Or like, I don't know, I guess the girl he's with, it may or may not be this girl that I know, kind of, but like it's a whole thing with her, so I'm not even gonna discuss it, like at least for this episode. But like ultimately, he's literally talking shit about a girl that spends time like in my personal, like how I am. Even like, but most of them be crazy, but like ultimately, especially if I know the girl and I know, no, like no. Like if he's actually dating, I'm pretty sure. But either way, the girl like it was genuinely amused. It was like not amusing. It was literally like a very very special, a very unique, and a very rare thing. But anyways, him and Nathan are the two people that's like, dude, Silver's literally on stage, stumbling, doesn't have anything to say, so he's just straight at me says, fuck you. I fucking hate you. You're a fucking piece of shit. And people around are kind of laughing and stuff. But it's like, when you think about why or the fact that people are laughing, you have to consider who it is. And are they laughing because this guy's saying that? Are they laughing because this guy's irate? Or are they laughing because they agree? All three of those do not benefit me or my emotional safety or anything at all. I'm willing to be the brunt of someone's joke if it's funny. But if all you're doing is literally unleashing hate speech onto me for no reason other than you're not talented enough to come up with a premise and you're nervous and you're not even willing to get off the stage, which I wish you would do more often, like, I'm sorry, but the end of the story is that, get the fuck off the stage. Instead, well then, shit if I'm not in the house the next time, because I've come to realize at this point now, I'm done letting these motherfuckers use me as their punchline. Unless it's someone like Malik B, then yeah, go for it. I gave him permission a long fucking time ago. Because he's actually a talented comic. As much as I don't always find everything he says funny, Malik, I've seen and witnessed I've seen him start with this. And then the next time I seen him, it was way up here because he'd been working it, and getting it better, working it. That's a real fucking comic for you. Even if they're not the best, not the famous, it's still a real comedian to me. Point is, that's the type of motherfucker that I'm like, hey man, when you're doing your 30 minutes, but then you get 15 minutes and you need a stumbling block, you can use me. And the last time he used, like, no, second to last time, no, okay. So the last time he used me, actually, because because technically, like, the last, he literally called me, he's like, I love this guy. And it made my, like, I was like, all right, it's coming around to me, that's good. But the time before that, at the beach mic, he was like, this is what he goes, like, because I told him, like, hey, man, feel free to use me again, if you, and he goes, nah, man, nah, that's good, man. Literally, he's doing his, one of the jokes that I'm talking about, like, improved. I'm like, oh, fuck yeah, I love it. Like, it still is not, like, my humor zone. It's kind of more like this, but that's fine. Audience was loving it. But in my head, what I love the most is I'm like, I remember what it sounded like, but I remember word for word, beat for beat, everything about. And then now I see this less than a week away from this, and it's already got legitimate flavoring and punches, adding in more vocalization of like a vocal type of what his, like, I don't want to stomp or like tell his joke, but like it was
a family. It was like about the airport and family and stuff. So there was things that he had adapted, changed, and accentuated in all the right places. You could tell it wasn't fully finished, but it was almost there, and that's so impressive considering it was less than a week from the time I heard him tell it. But then guess what happens? Doesn't have a transfer, slight stumble. I'm the motherfucker there, smiling, laughing, having a good time. Immediately he goes right in. Oh man, he cuts because I was taking photos and I got a bomb ass photo, which he still and he'll never deny it, of him and the girl he was with, and it was the best. It was legit. It was a good fucking like I kept that photo for stock photos for me, like because it was that good. It was just a beautiful. I just captured the two of them perfectly. Motherfucker though, he's like, I don't know if you noticed, there's two people taking pictures because the venue, like, or the beach, Mike, had their own photographer. So it's funny, but like at the same time, no, I don't know what he's taking a picture for, yo. I don't, you be careful with this one. He gonna end up in a thing, letting up stocks. Like he was just making fun of me. But my point is, I gave him permission for that reason, but also, it's cool. Like I don't mind. It comes from a good place or it comes from a safe space. Okay, if it comes from a good place or it comes from a safe space, it's cool by me. But the reality is, people like Michael Silvers, they just have straight, like, it's not, it's not. Okay, look, it's not even respect. It's not even admiration. When he shouted at me that stuff on stage, it wasn't humor either. It was literally him. Like, what's the best part about it is, before he was on stage, when he seen me, he was polite and nice. Prior to that night, he'd been slowly being more polite and nice. And I had told this other comic person, who I'm not going to name drop because it's not necessary, but like they're really associated with each other, that I was noticing that, and I was thinking, okay, he's probably becoming a better person in some way, shape, or form, or whatever. So I felt that way. But then now it's like, I don't know, because he goes after me only for like, and he's not. This isn't the first time. It's certain people, certain reactions, certain type. He does it because he legitimately is like, has no reason, but he has inferiority complex toward me. Like, he's one of the fucking people that I was talking about before. I'm having an actual conversation with a girl, an actually engaging environment here, and he come up not to add to the conversation at all. A, he couldn't because he's not an intellectual, but B, because he was just trying to get with the girl the whole time. Same point. Might be together. That might be the same thing. Like, my thing, sometimes I wonder about girls and stuff, and I wonder, it's like, look, maybe it was me not letting them know, but at the same time, I'm always the same way. At this point in my life, I just am like this. If you want to fuck me, just ask. Most likely, I'll say yes if you're a female, unless you like way fucking nasty, or I'm in a mindset and I'm like, nah, we can't because it's not good for me. But if you were willing to maybe pay me and it's just touched, I don't know. I'm not kidding. All kidding aside, yeah. But he is like, there's certain ones, but like they're younger than me and all that other shit. So it's like I have to factor in a lot of things. But like, I just wanted a friendship with this girl, and now she blocked me like on one of my accounts, and the other one she didn't. But like, apparently she be asking about me too. So it's like, what the fuck? Like, why don't you just come talk to me? Like, the only reason I'm weird around you, this girl, is literally only because you blocked me on the social media. And I knew, like, hey, I'm going to see her again. And therefore, hey, look, check it out. I seen her again. But to me, all the blessings and all the positive energy and all that awesomeness that you were getting from me, when it was a part, like a mutual thing, where I literally cut all of that, like sliced it down the middle, that string, that connection, all of that amazing, good, like you love, literally love being around me. Literally, like, value, like, all it. It's just amazingness. It is. It's truly blessing. Like, I'm not a narcissist. I'm not like I don't withhold from people to punish them. But I, for my safety, sever the connection when it's because I cannot leave it open. It's not how it works. If anything, that leads into then if I'm not careful, I'm going to literally murder somebody. Specifically, in this case, if it is the case, Michael Silvers. Because that's the motherfucker who literally starts fights he can't finish and gets the shit kicked out of him. And that's what happened at an event. Like, he was trying to start shit with me one time. And I was like, look, I'm going to tell you exactly what happened. His ass was in my fucking face, and I was just like this. Look, I nudged him like that. But because he was imbalanced, because he was all focused on the girl, he fell over. And he didn't play it off like what we do? No, he turned it into a whole thing against me, which literally I got teamed up on that night. I don't even want to get into that. A whole other tea session. But we're coming up on 3 hours. If anything, I should be impressed. I wish we had more audience, but then again, if you're anything like me, you know. So I'm going to finish off with the question of the week. So here's the question of the week, folks. If you comment with your answer, you will get one free dollar bill. Not necessarily a dollar bill in the physical, unless I know you, then I can give you a dollar like that. But otherwise, Cash App, Venmo, or PayPal. I will send you $1. And that's it. So the question for the week is what is the last oh wait, no, sorry. Man, I can't even remember what the question was. Damn it. I should have wrote it down. Oh, okay, here. Okay, new one, not the same one. All right. What is your opinion about Joe Rogan and Spotify and or the additional separation but the same conversation line? What is your opinion about Dave Chappelle and Netflix? And the reason I bring those up is because both Spotify and Netflix have come out once again, and literally, like, Dave Chappelle just got four more specials at least, I'm pretty sure, from Netflix, and then Spotify is like reinstituted their contract or whatever with Joe. So that's the question of the week. Feel free to answer. I just want to know, like, what are your thoughts on and spilling the tea? That's the theme, right? Joe Rogan and Spotify, and then or Dave Chappelle and Netflix. And I will go one step further because of how minimal the comments are. If you post comments, 2 comments, one about Joe and one about Dave Chappelle, I will give you $3. And I got to be careful about that because if I got 100 motherfuckers, that means I'm out $300. And I'm like, oh, we'll talk about rent another day. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Thanks. I mean, it's just been me, but peace and love and all the other stuff. Cheers. Have a great night, day, afternoon.